Indeed. All right. I think we can officially start, except we do not have anywhere near a quorum for this committee. We need an in-person quorum still, I believe, so we're a little shy. We are shy by 3 at least. So that means that we can start to call attention and start the meeting calling it to attention, but we can't officially call it to order. That's all that means, but we can continue. So I'm going to call this to attention, and hopefully we'll get more of our committee members on board in person, and we will be able to call to order. All right. Dr. Riverside. Okay. Yes, I know there's some guests here tonight, specifically some folks from tenants from the building on St. Nick that had the fire recently. I know some of you are visiting, so welcome. Thank you for coming. We are glad you're here so we can hear your voices. Hello, how are you? Hello. Are you here for housing? Just want to check. Okay, let's take a seat anywhere you like. Yeah, aren't you? So we're going to call to attention at, well, just for the record, right? Yeah. Oh, thank you. Sorry. Thank you. Clayton's got the notes. So agenda. So Tiffany, what would you like to add tonight? We're asking now to take a look at the agenda, and if you have any additions.
Yeah.
You want to discuss. Yes.
To St. Nicholas Place. You mentioned that there are some other people that were from there.
That's already being added to the agenda.
Okay, great. Well, specifically, it's the fire evictions.
Say that one more time. I had the subway.
Oh, I said specifically what I've been calling these fire evictions. It's really important to give a name to this phenomenon that's happening not just in Harlem, but other areas where like Harlem, in the Bronx and Queens and so on. So I just wanted to talk about that for 5 minutes.
Absolutely. I think you have a similar concern as Ms. Caldwell, who's here, wants to talk about it tonight with some of the tenants in that building and talk about the bigger issue at hand.
That is the issue.
Yes. So we will put that in new business. Okay. We're going to put that in new business, and we're going to ask folks to just be patient for a few more takes while we get through the rest of the meeting here.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody else have addendums to the agenda? If you can't see it all, let me try and bring it down. Why isn't my mouse working? Oh, it's on this. That confused me. Okay. This is our typical agenda. It's just updates on a lot of things we are working on. Specifically, new business. I've added the to St. Nicholas. Our old business. We have a couple of action items to discuss. Anything else? Anybody here with a specific concern other than what we already know? Okay. All right. So it's covered in the agenda, and we'll do that. Okay. Perfect. That said, we can't adopt anything, but we can officially note that we have made some addendums to this. Hopefully, we have one more committee member, so that's now 3. We're getting there, but still waiting. Minutes, committee members, I sent the minutes that Clayton so graciously put together for us. Thank you again, Clayton, for all your hard work. Hopefully everybody got a chance to take a look at them. If you didn't, then please do so and send friendly amendments later. But just take a look at that. So, introductions. All right, welcome. We are the Housing, Land Use, and Zoning Committee for Community Board 9. We have a couple of new guests and faces. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Other new faces. I've seen some of you before. I know you've been around, but well, I think so. Yeah. So, and thank you for coming. This is your sounding board for this community, right? So we are a group of volunteers, 50 volunteers that are appointed by our borough president as well as our city council member. So 50 of us for each community board. There's community boards throughout the city. We are the sounding board for you. You bring your voice to the table, we bring your voice to the electeds, and we have you know, letters of resolution, letters of support, things like this that we bring to our elected officials saying what you have told us is feedback, and us too, because we're part of your community. We all live here or work here. We have a vested interest in this community. So that is our purpose. I always hate, we're not the lowest level of city government. We are the top level of city government. It should be that way, right? We are the grassroots version of city government. So what we're saying to our elected officials is what the people in our specific area want. And I always love grassroots. Grassroots is where it lives, right? We gotta serve our people. So that's who we are. I just wanted to give you a sense. I live on 150th Street, been on this committee 10 years, I want to say, 50th Street. 150, oh, 150, yeah, 150th. If you've been coming to these meetings for a while, you'll know my fearless partner, Liz Wydigas, who is my co-chair. She's not here tonight. She is on travel for work in Cuba. But we move forward, we miss her. And of course, you may notice the in memoriam of April Tyler, who is always on our mind as we go to MCB9. She was a fierce force to be reckoned with and a force in the housing world for 30 some years. We lost her a few years back, but so that's who we are. I do want our, hey, there's Barry, we're up to 4. That's okay. Oh, there's, okay. I think we made it. Yeah. We made a quorum. We're very excited. So don't forget to sign in. Hello, you here for housing land use zoning? I just want to make sure. Yeah. Welcome. Thank you for coming. So now we can officially call to order because we now have a quorum of committee members. So we're just going to take a moment to do that. Okay. So committee members, a call to order would be in place. Anybody want to first that and second that? Call to order, grab a second. Anyone? I'll second it. All right, thank you, welcome. You're all here for housing and use zoning, right? Yes. Okay, very good. So call to order, official call to order now has been made at whatever time it is. I can't see on my screen. Something's blocked. 6:42. We did already review the agenda, but if no new folks that came in have anything to add, anything to add, we're adding to St. Nicholas Place to make sure the folks that are here for that have a chance to chat with us. Tiffany and Ms. Caldwell also wanted to talk about the more epidemic of fires in our city. Is there anything else to add from the new committee members that just walked in? And not, call for adoption of the agenda with those added items.
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Ilana. First by Barry, second by Ilana. Minutes, if you all got to see the minutes, committee members, new ones that came in, if there were any edits, please just feel free to email it to us rather than go through it tonight, right now. With any possible edits, I'd like to call for an adoption of the minutes.
So moved.
Go for it. This is part of the business of the board. We have to do it official. So I introduced who the community board is. Now I would like the committee members first to just go around and say who you are. And then any other community board members that are with us. And we've got a bit of a large group tonight, so I'd like to just note that we have some members from 2 St. Nicholas. We have some new members over here, and it looks like we have some new members online, perhaps also some from the building that is going to talk tonight. And we welcome you all. But let us introduce ourselves. Let's see, Barry, you want to go net first, or?
Sure.
And then pass the baton to another committee member.
All right. My name is Barry Weinberg. I live on 38th Street, Riverside Drive. I've been on the board 12 years, I think, almost. And I also serve as first vice chair of the board currently. I'll pass it to Juan.
Mongo Norris, I'm a high school teacher at Philip Randolph High School. I've been in Harlem since 1993, and I love this community board. Next.
Good evening, my name is Annette Robinson. I've lived in the neighborhood for over 50 years. I've served on the board now for 12 as a member of this committee and now co-chair of Landmarks Preservation and Parks. And I welcome you, all of you to our community board meeting. It's good to see you here.
Milana Mercado, I'm originally from the Bronx. I've been in Harlem since 2006. I've been on the board since 2017. I'm also on the Arts and Culture Committee, and I live in an affordable HQD co-op on 100 William Street.
Pass the baton. Who's next?
But on committee, you mean?
I think we do everyone on committee?
I
Okay.
Oh,
So we'll start with other community board members. So go ahead, Ms. Caldwell.
okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Patricia Colwell. I sit on the Seniors Action Committee as well as Landmark Preservation and Parks. And I'm also an associate minister at Calvin Avenue Baptist Church. I've lived in the community for 41 years. I've worked as a community activist for the last 30 years. And this is only my second year sitting on the community board. And I'm here for two St. Nicholas Place.
And I'm
I'm Clayton, I'm a community board member in Austin Committee. I am a PhD student, I live in student housing at 126.
excellent. Any other community board members in the room that I missed? Oh, hi. Hey, Miriam.
Hi, I'm not here as a community board.
Yeah, understood. Okay.
Miriam Barristi-Farrer, member of Community Board 9, I don't know, like 16 years on and off. I've been in the community on and off 20-something years, but this is where my dad immigrated in the 60s. And I was born in Washington Heights. I co-chair the Cannabis Task Force. I've previously co-chaired the Parks Task Force Committee. Yeah. Glad to be here, and I'm here representing the Dard Riverside Law Project.
If you want to say words tonight, starting on through the agenda, but let me know.
I just kind of let everyone know what we do, but also
Okay, I'll put
just
your-
bring up a building in Community Board 9. Just let
Okay.
them know.
All right, if it's short, I'll put you under, just after the intro. Let's see, I see Michael online. Why don't you introduce yourself? Oh, I see some public members too. Go ahead, Michael.
Hi, my name is Michael. I'm not part of this committee, but I'm a community board 9 member. I go to Columbia Law School, and I'm very passionate about housing rights. And I'm interested to hear more about the resolution you guys are going to be voting on later.
It's your resolution, so.
It's technically everyone's, right? It's the community. So
Understood. Let's see. I see Walter Alexander. Community board. You there, Walter? Walter? I think he said he's on back to you. He's on the bus? Okay, we'll come back to you. Anybody see any other community board members online? Don't think so. We do have a couple of our public members. The public membership, just so you know, these are folks that are not on the community board, but they have a vested, very strong interest in our committee, Housing, Land Use, Zoning. So they have filled out paperwork and come to a certain number of meetings to join us for this committee and are extra help and hands when we do our committee work. So we have, I think Jared's here and Anita's here. Anita's in the room, so Anita, you go first.
I'm Anita, I live in the neighborhood. And tonight, we're representing 501 West 143rd.
Yeah.
Rosa, Melania, Tatiana, Anita, Jesse, and Montserrat.
Got it. But you're a public member. And Jared Knowles is on with us, also public member.
Hi, I'm Jared. Been in the neighborhood, I guess, about 12 years. Sorry I'm late. Hello, everyone.
Hi. And a shout out to some previous committee members. Tiffany Khan's out there, David's out there. No need to introduce, but I just want to note that. I see Vincent from WHDC. WHDC, hello, Vincent.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. Yeah, you want to say quickly who you are?
I'm Vince Morgan. I'm the director of the HDSC Resource Center, and I am here in proud support of Anita Ching's presentation. We've been trying to work with her, and I'm glad she has an opportunity to speak to your committee. I do want to get on your calendar for your next meeting because there's some stuff coming down like on Local Law 97. We need to make sure that we keep getting out.
Excellent. Happy to have you next time, Vincent, to give us some brief. I see DCP's on the line. Welcome. Hi. Sign in for me over there. If you haven't signed in, there is a paper over there just so we know who's here. If you want to get on our email list, be sure to put your email on there as well for me. So I think that is our community board representatives in the room and online. So welcome all our visitors, and we'll get officially started a bit here with our presentations and announcements. We'll do, we don't necessarily have presentations, though that's kind of under the new business is presentations from y'all. So I'm gonna put that under new business, and if there's any quick announcements of important events going on or things, that would be appropriate now while everybody's here and hasn't drifted away yet. Any announcements, housing announcements, important events going on? Miriam, what did you say?
Tomorrow's
You
a
are?
huge lobby day, to Albany for
Gotcha.
housing.
Gotcha.
All the coalitions are heading to Albany for right to council and other housing. Things.
Tell us what you're here representing tonight.
So hi, everyone. I'm here with the Dark Riverside Law Project. I'll leave some of our information there. What are we? We organize buildings and help you form tenants associations. We don't represent individuals per se, but you can come to the stop by and get free legal counsel. But if your building does organize, we do help you go on rent strike and take your building to court. We currently took 619 141 on 141st Street. They won. The landlord was fined $750,000, but he is a no-show. That's why we're here, because these situations are happening. But again, I'll leave information on how to look up your landlord, check the violations. If you're in a market rate, to check that it is a legal conversion, and that you're not being overcharged.
Cool. Can everybody online hear okay? I just saw someone send me a note. We good?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Who is the landlord at 619 West 141st?
Yes.
I can't tell you off the top of my head. It's not Steve Perlman, but he is notoriously bad.
That's not the one with the fire.
No. This is a totally inhabited building.
Yes.
It's on the block of the Fortune Society, the building right before. It's a huge building. It has a lot of people living in it, and the landlord has just like bailed.
Wally,
That's 140th Street, right?
619 141.
Okay. Thank you, Miriam. All right. With that said, we'll go to new business. Barry, you have a questioning look on your face.
No, fine.
New business. So let's dive into it. We have a couple of items that have been requested to discuss tonight. First item on the agenda is Anita and her building with the request for a letter of support. So Anita, if you can briefly explain the situation. And
It's okay, everyone just from the building just said
Sure,
your
they-
name and they were so nice to
absolutely.
come and,
of course,
if I can give you guys.
same thing
Well, I
with
have
you take
one.
Nicholas, we want you all to say goodbye.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if you want one, it's just what I'm gonna say. No?
Yes.
I'm on the committee.
I only got one more, that's a nice presentation.
Okay, I'll
You can have mine, I have an electronic version.
So, yeah, I just brought some bullet points to keep it short. But if, I don't know, should we start, do you wanna start? Introduce who you are, just say your name, how long you've been in the building. Okay. Rose is a member of the board.
Yes, my name is Rosa Gutierrez. I've been living in 143rd Street, in my building for a long time, 1974. 1974. And I tried to work so hard, so much for the community and for the building. And, because we have to help because, if we leave this like someone like me, like so many years, I want to do the best for the building and for. Right?
I think some people here speak Spanish. You can speak Spanish.
Absolutely. Somebody can translate.
I can translate it. Please.
Solo para presentarte.
I'm sure we'll
Presentarte.
Sí.
Solo para saludarte.
Mi nombre es Milady Gardi. Vivo yo me mudé ahí en el año 1985.
Melody is an original shareholder. Amanda is too. She's on the board.
Thank you for your hard work.
They're very active in the building, very helpful.
She's been living in the building since 1985.
Wow.
Amazing.
My name is Tatiana Peck, and I've been in the building for the last 6 years, and I'm on the board.
Anita Burrell, I grew up in the building, I'm grandfathered in the building, and I help the board as much as possible.
And children and grandchildren.
Children and grandchildren, that's right.
There are a lot of legacy families in our community, so we gotta keep them all saved and going strong.
member.
Yes, and a former
Thank you.
member and continues to help. Anita is continuing to help.
My name is Jesse Overman Kelly. I think I've lived in the building 6 or 7 years now. I'm on the board currently.
My name is Montserrat. I've lived in the building since 2016. This is the second HDFC I've lived in. HDFC was a reason that I can afford to continue living in New York City as an artist and instructor at the art studio.
I know what this might be, but yes.
What is H?
Yes, good question. I thought you might ask that. So we have worked very closely with what we call HDFCs in this neighborhood. We have one of the biggest concentrations of these buildings. These are co-ops that are considered affordable, the last bastion of affordable ownership in our in our city. Honestly, this is folks that put sweat equity into buildings that were abandoned by landlords in the 80s and early 90s. The city didn't know what to do with it. They came to the tenants of the building and said, hey, we're gonna give you your apartment for this much, but you guys gotta put the sweat equity in to fix the building up and make it, livable and all of this that the landlord wasn't doing before, right? And most of these buildings have become beacons in their neighborhoods and become beacons on their block.
For generations.
For generations. And many of these people lived in these buildings way before these were converted into what are called HDFCs. And that stands for Okay, Housing Development Fund Corporation. And that is what these buildings are. So you are meeting the people who made these buildings what they are today.
Although minor
Yes.
asterisk, the
Yeah.
city did not come to them and ask.
Oh, yeah, true, that's correct.
They went down to the city on demand.
Yeah.
Because the city wanted to either tear them down or give them to developers or landlords.
That's true.
And the tenants said, no, they're ours. But these buildings were worth negative money at the time, which is why their landlords abandoned them, why they got foreclosed by the city for unpaid taxes and water. And the city has been attacking them for the past 15 years because they are now worth something.
Yeah.
And the city,
Exactly.
Forcing them into regulatory agreements that they aren't the best.
Where there was a third-party transfer program where HPD could foreclose on these buildings and give them to, they said they're nonprofit developers, but they're still developers. And when the HDFCs are given for $1, these developers get all these benefits automatically. They get 40 years of tax abatement, which is called which is called an Article 11. They get packages of low interest loans. According to one of the accountants that works with the HDFC coalition, their loans are between 0.25 and 1.25 interest rate, which is, lower than market. And they get all these financing. A few years ago, when I was going through Actress, I was trying to find, I don't think my numbers are completely accurate, but before conversions, HDFCs and then the debt level after conversion, and the difference was in the hundreds of millions of dollars. So the HDFCs that are converted to developers or given to developers are loaded up with a lot of debt. And we are trying to avoid that. Our building did have a security agreement for 25 years, 1990 to 2015, as soon as the city filed foreclosure because the previous management was apparently not paying the bills to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, not hundreds of millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars. They claimed $3.4 million in water. So apparently, all that, and the community board helped us a lot. So we got out of foreclosure, which was, we had elections, we had a new board, all these people. Most everyone here was on the board at one time or another, and or currently on the board. And Article 11 was we went through the application process. It's very difficult, 14 points, all the financial history, information, tax, everything, all the and then as part of that process, our board was given a sample regulatory agreement by HPD, and our board had to approve it, and our shareholders had to approve it for us to submit our Article 11 application, which we did. However, this was back in 2018. However, for some reason, we didn't know that the city council resolution was submitted and then passed. For some reason, no one showed us. In 2022, I was looking through Legistar and I found that the city council reso 516 that gave our buildings Article 11 retroactive to 2011, and it was passed in 2018, which I think I probably sent you guys a few surprise emails. Now in 2024, the HDFC has paid to the city over $2 million in payment agreements to the DEP and DOF, taxes and water, and is seeking a loan to pay for new roof and facade project needed. In addition, we also have local law 97 compliance that we have to do, like heating systems and energy. Over the years, this building has fought city foreclosure. We've improved a lot. We don't have a lot of records from the past. In fact, we did have a court case trying to find records from the past, and we didn't get much. Now, HPD and Councilmember Ruth's office has actually been working with us. They've actually been helpful, came with us to visit HPD. And, but HPD is telling, and they wrote Ruth's office and Manhattan Borough President's Mark Levine's office, sent a joint letter to Commissioner Carrion to ask for what we're asking for tonight. And they said that we didn't get our Article 11 because we didn't pay the outstanding flip tax to get our Article 11. However, we didn't know that Article 11 was passed, and we didn't know, of course, the condition of getting it. And we request a letter of support tonight from the community board to send to, I don't know, the mayor's office or HPD commissioner, whatever you think is appropriate, to support our getting this Article 11, which was passed by city council back in 2018 with the regulatory agreement that HPD sent to us.
This is the letter that Sean wrote for you guys, and this is what you wanted us to take a look at as possibly a template for what we could.
Yes, or we can use this email with the bullet points that I sent. It's the same, okay.
Can you scroll down?
Yep.
Sweet.
Things.
I should have brought copies. It's okay, but I did email it to you.
No, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I move that we. I move that we pass a letter of support for a full Article 11 tax abatement retroactive to 2011. And going forward for 501 West 143rd Street. Largely in line with the letter on the screen.
Okay.
I second that. Well, we don't need to do a vote probably till later. Or do we want to do it now?
If there's any debate.
Is there any debate about it? We've worked with this building a long time, I would
We've
say.
worked with this building 9 years.
Barry and I marched down to HPD a couple of times.
On finance, out to left rack safety.
DEP?
For DEP. It's been a ride.
Yes.
And we're there till the end.
The building, these people in the building have also done a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
A lot, and
Yes.
I really,
We
it
deserve
deserves to be
it.
recognized.
And the city needs to recognize that
Yeah.
and do right by your building.
Yes.
But you guys have come a really long way.
Yes, you have.
Like $2 million. Yes,
We
Well-
put up scaffolding,
yeah,
this is serious.
and expensive.
Yeah, and right now, at the moment, we are failing. We are failing despite all our efforts.
Well,
We will do everything we can from our avenue, right? Which is pushing our electeds, pushing the folks that can give you what you need to make it.
I mean, does it help to have a meeting with someone at HPD or with an elected official?
we could talk to the mayor's office first.
The letter and then follow up.
Follow up with me.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else in the building want to say anything regarding this, other than we're here for you? Thank you for coming. Really, this is how we work as a community, okay? We have to hear your voice, we have to have you come, right?
Sorry, Tiffany, you may not-
Tiffany, yes, Tiffany?
Yeah, this is actually in relation to not only Anita's building, but so first of all, to everyone there, kudos to all of you for sticking this out. What's happening to your building is obviously happening in a lot of places, not just in Harlem, but in Brooklyn. Lois Penny might have mentioned this. I may have mentioned it. 952 St. Mark's has a very similar story. In a nutshell, it sounds like theft. I really think that some sort of, maybe dare I say, federal investigation needs to be conducted, some sort of third-party oversight group. Because there are cases.
The Attorney General's office.
They contacted the AG office, she's saying,
Many years ago.
So was that, you mean the state attorney general or?
Yes,
Okay,
She's now in the Biden administration, Kirsten, what's her name? I'll get her name.
Gillibrand? Sorry,
No,
I
that's
can't
a
hear
senator.
everything. Yeah, I can't hear every.
Make sure you speak up if you're talking to the folks online.
That's okay.
Okay, all right, we were just talking about who, they might be on the mayor's council now, okay. Did we officially vote? No, we didn't.
We haven't voted yet.
Save that for later or do it now? What do you think? Okay, let's do it now. So the way voting works on the community board, we first take a vote of committee members on CB9 on this committee. Then we take our public members, other community board members, and then you, the public, you have a say as well, put it into the record, right? Ours officially goes into the letter of support and this kind of thing as official votes, but your voices are recorded in the minutes so that we make sure they see how many people were here, and you know, we note that in there too, but yeah. Okay, so first I'm gonna go with community board members, committee members, community board committee members. And I guess I will go with all in favor, say yay.
Yeah.
All opposed, say nay. Yeah, ayes have it. So that is, are we 5 in person or more?
5 in person.
Okay, 5 in person. And next I want to go to public members. I think Jared's online and Anita's here. Anybody else, public members that I missed? Don't think so.
I'm recused, I imagine.
Yes, probably, right? So Jared, do you, yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
All right, excellent. Next, go to other community board members online and in the room. If you're online, just unmute yourself and give us everybody in support, say yay.
Yes.
Anybody with nay? The ayes have it there too.
Let's keep the names of those numbers.
You can just put the numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then
How many numbers do we have online?
we've got Walter, Victor, and Michael.
Walter, Victor, Michael. Okay.
5.
And
I'm a
you,
yes.
And you?
I'm a yes.
3.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So 1, 2,
3, 4, 5.
and 5 online.
5, yeah, no.
No, 3 online.
3 online.
Okay, so 5 and 5.
5 from the committee, 5 from the board, 1
One
from the
public.
public members, and 1 present not entitled
Right.
from the public members.
And then we take it to the community, you all. Now I will ask everyone that would say in favor, say aye, who is
Heather's on.
joining. Others on?
Aye.
Say aye, okay, very good. Anyone opposed, say nay. Unanimous pass. We will draft up the reso based on this letter that Sean wrote, and review that, and we need to get that to exec for Thursday. Okay. All right, so we will do that, and then we'll go to general. You're welcome. Thank you for bringing your voices. It's super important. All right, so moving along, to St. Nicholas. Thank you everyone who's here from to St. Nicholas. If y'all in the room who have not heard of this, there was a very bad fire at that building. Right? I know Victor stopped by, many of the community board members have been highly involved in trying to help push, make sure everybody is taken care of, finding places to live temporarily. The idea is that, you know, it should be refurbished and they can come back to their building. That is the plan normally, right? So we need to push that though, always. That said, I think Ms. Caldwell and Tiffany both have similar concerns in a more general sense, but I want you to introduce the people that are here if you can too, make sure we know
I
who's
don't
here.
know exactly who's online because this was done quickly.
Yes, I know some people said they were online, so if you are from St. Nicholas Place,
Right.
please raise your hand online or in the room.
As part of the committee or the resident?
As a resident?
Yeah.
So if you are from St. Nicholas, please raise your hand on Zoom if you don't know how to do it. You
Arlene, I need you, please.
You know who that is, that's Mrs. Cooks? Okay, hi, Mrs. Cooks, welcome. We hear you.
I think that's Dorothy Montague.
No, that's not me. I'm here now.
Oh.
Here I am.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to raise my hand. Montague.
Very good. Nice to see you
Yes,
all.
this is Dorothy Montague.
Yeah.
Trying to raise
Yeah, and
my
we do, it was very tragic. There was some injuries. I hope all of you and your loved ones are safe. I know we had one fatality, which was absolutely heart-wrenching. Yes.
Okay, for all the people who are from 2-4 St. Nicholas Place, you have my prayers, my condolences, and that this can be helped. I, did send, some of you received it. This, it's not gonna be long. I'm gonna try to do this in 4 minutes. With the images that I've sent to you in this neighborhood, it is a, thanks, Ed. This is, historically, this is very helpful. This has been an area that is historically.
Historic district.
Yeah, right. It has historical status or whatever. In other words, in this neighborhood, what we're looking at, for instance, I live right there in the neighborhood. You look on the corner of 150th Street, there's a hotel there, but that hotel, in fact, was built as a mansion. Across the street from that, there's another white large building that also is a mansion, but not too far, right down that block. In the middle of the block of St. Nicholas, and we're talking all on St. Nicholas Place, that's another mansion. Now, I just mentioned that because I want you to understand the neighborhood that it's in. And I've already sent out things ahead of time, which everybody's received. But what I want to talk about with this building is, and I'm going to reiterate, in this building on the 23rd of February, we had 17 people injured. One person lost his life. And when the fire department did arrive at the location, people were hanging out on fire escapes and trying to escape, some of which are on this call, in this meeting right now. Now, the landlord is not speaking directly to the tenants. The owner's name is Samuel Klein. Management company is Valman Management LLC, P.O. Box 190352, Brooklyn, New York 11219. Also, and another one, and in addition to Hudson Valley King LLC, 3810 14th Avenue, Brooklyn, New York 11218. Now, the person who perished was a gentleman who had just graduated from Columbia University by the name of Khalil Khan. Okay, so now we have all of this here. And what I have here, and if you could put that up for me, that's the building. Could you go to the vacate order? On that vacate order, we read that the Department of Buildings has determined that the conditions of this premises are imminently perilous to life, and these premises have been vacated and re-entry is prohibited until such conditions have been eliminated to the satisfaction of the department, Violators of this commissioner's vacate order are subject to arrest. Now, I am not sure whether or not the address on here is the address that should be the address, which is 2-4 St. Nicholas Place. But if you will note, the address on this is 310.
And it's from September 2022.
This is the vacate order that is on the premises.
It's the same time.
This is a tactic that is often used. They put a vacate order.
But it's your address.
But now we understand that on these premises that there have been violations and these people have not corrected the violations. We have problems with the elevator where it most often did not work, and when repaired, it did not meet with the landing floor. So you know that unlevel landing. They have not given these people any expected time of when they may re-enter. They have not informed them, and they informed, and I understand if maybe Ms. Montague would like to speak to this, Mrs. Montague, that they want them to pay rent.
So,
Yeah, that's bigger.
so one of the key things, almost everyone in this building should be rent regulated, either rent controlled or rent stabilized, because the building was built before 1974.
Okay.
If there are units that are market rate, they may have been illegally deregulated.
Right.
Point one. Point two, if you have a rent regulated lease, what you can do is register with the Division of Housing and Community Renewal at the level. And you are entitled to get your rent reduced to $1 a month so that you can hold on to your lease and have a right to return to your apartment once it has been.
We have one person that says the market
What
rate.
is that registered with the Department?
So maybe repeat that.
Department of Rent?
Nicholas?
Yeah,
If they register with the Department of Rent Renewal,
it's DHCR, Division of Housing and Community Renewal.
DHCR, then they can get their rent for $1, reduced to $1 a month.
Yes, Mr. Lujan, you will probably want an attorney. So there is a full vacate order on the property from the Department of Buildings. That's not it's not a false.
There is a vacate for the building.
The Department of Buildings website says full vacate exists on this property.
Can we give him resources of where to find an attorney?
I'd like a question of this from your funding, about, so you can send me the bank information. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, it's you. Can we keep?
Is that you, Ed? Oh.
I don't know what all they're gonna ask.
Can you
And so maybe I can just enter something in my own.
just hover over her thing there?
Where is she?
She's right there. Yep. No, dots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
So,
So we need to
you
share
were
that
saying with
information with.
Department of
Are they working?
Buildings, they need, that these tenants need a lawyer?
Yes.
Yes, is there an active tenants association yet in the building?
They did at one time have it, I don't know, due to COVID and all the rest of it, I don't know how active they are.
So you should,
I'll do this.
first of all, you have to stick together as a group.
Mhm.
Solidarity is key. The landlord will attempt to pick you up one by one. They will attempt to divide you by market rate versus rent regulated, by language spoken, by ethnicity, by anything they can. But you all have to stick together and do, and effectively bargain with the landlord as a full unit.
Okay.
Second, you should approach Palante Harlem.
Let me give the phone number for Palante. Everybody that is from 2 St. Nicholas Place, we would like to make sure you're represented. If your market rate, whatever, you need to stick together. You need to stick together as tenants, even when you're separated right now. And you need to call or go into call and find out what their open hours are. They have a lawyer on site. And they have hours that a lawyer will be present. 212-491-2541. Again, that's 212-491-2541. Tell them you were at the community board meeting and you just had a fire recently and what your situation is and that you need assistance. They're also online if you want to check them out at Palante, that's PALANTE, Harlem.org.
Do you all have like a WhatsApp group or something going yet?
Not yet.
Okay, you should do that.
What's that?
A WhatsApp group or
yeah.
some way to keep in touch with everybody.
Yeah, like they're kind of, yes, scattered.
And that way you don't have 20 people calling Palante at once.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And I have a representative.
Can I just offer our support as well?
Yeah.
That's what the Dard Riverside Law Project does.
Great.
We organize tenant organizations,
Good.
tenant associations. I just reached out to our lead organizer if we can help. But that's what we do. If you need help organizing yourselves as a tenant group, it is very recommended. I will tell you, my cousin was in the building on 141st Street that had the fire last December, and having a WhatsApp group saved their lives. When the building's fire alarms did not go off, the tenants connected with each other on WhatsApp and warned each other of the fire. They have been a united front in that building, and even to get access weekly to retrieve items. When you have a vacate order, you can work it out, and they did work it out with Alande, helped them out to certain days, like you go in like crazy with a team, like get a friend, a cousin, something, and you get an hour to grab stuff. You should be negotiating that now. Because the longer you wait, the worse the conditions become, and there's mold, asbestos, all that stuff. So you need to like organize yourselves fast to get access quickly. Because the longer you wait, the harder it is to get access.
Oh, someone let you talk.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
raise
this is,
your hand if you wanna
this
talk.
is Miss-
Absolutely. Hold on, sorry, 1 second, Florence.
Hey, I'm seeing everybody.
Give us 1 second. Okay, all right, so if anybody in the building, online, or here in the room wants to say a few words about your situation and more information, need more information, Florence, yes, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment to the WhatsApp situation. We did try, we attempted to do, and so not to be a part of the group, but we do have a WhatsApp group currently, and it's called Residents of This Place.
Residents of what?
Of
Who's in
two
charge of the
singular
WhatsApp?
space. Well, what do you mean? Who's in charge? You mean who started it?
Yeah, who's in charge that can add people to that WhatsApp group?
Oh.
My daughter.
Good.
Say that one more time.
Her daughter.
Her daughter.
Your daughter.
Yes.
Is there any information you can share so that people on this call and in this room could join that WhatsApp?
I don't know what you need.
Usually, anybody good with WhatsApp, I think you usually need a phone number or
An email.
I think it's phone number, right?
Phone number.
I think it can be phone number.
Phone number or
Phone number
email.
would be helpful to join it.
Phone number would be helpful to join it. Yeah.
And they have one already. Her daughter is the one that started it for
Yeah.
her. Please, this is Patricia Caldwell. You have an email from me. Please send me your information.
Okay, and your name is
wife.
Patricia?
Caldwell. Caldwell.
You
Did
spell-
you receive the email today or yesterday?
Actually, we did not get an email. One of the my neighbors sent it to my daughter, and that's how we were able to register like minutes before this meeting.
Alina sent it to you? Was it Ms. Cooks?
No.
It was Dorothy Montague.
Montague, right.
Yes.
Yeah. You have my email address. Please contact me, okay?
Hi, this is Miss Cooks. I only was able to send this information out to those that I had the contact numbers from when initially everything had kind of settled down. And Miss White's daughter, Jovan, was the one that decided that we needed to get together. And so we were trying to get together. So I think it might be wise. Jovan, is she on? Is she on?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Jovan, maybe, to let the members know what your number are, the members of 2-4, and they can just text you their email address to go on for the WhatsApp. That might be helpful to all of us.
Yeah, Miss Florence, if you open the chat for this meeting, some of the folks are putting their email addresses in there now for you. And your daughter may find that helpful when trying to add people.
She doesn't have to
All right.
share her phone number
Thank
publicly
you.
if she doesn't want to, but if folks can share their email or something they're comfortable with, hopefully she can gather folks to add.
Looking at the chat now.
Great.
Great, great.
So if anybody else wants to be on that WhatsApp so y'all can organize, feel free to put your email or phone number, whatever you're comfortable with, in the chat so that, who is it? Can gather?
This is, you've got the main people here.
Yes.
Helena, Mrs. Cooks, Helena Cook, Mrs. Montague, Mrs. White.
Yes.
Yeah, these are your main people.
Got it.
Okay, but if, I just want you to know also, you'll know I'm only 2 doors down, I'm available to you.
Awesome.
And if there are any issues that, I'd like to add, if I may, that anybody would like to address now where you didn't get enough information, because I wasn't well versed totally, but I'm learning just like you.
Yeah, I'm giving another round of anybody have anything they're concerned about and want to see if they can learn more here.
Okay. Good.
I do see our chair is now online. Victor Edwards, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me? I'm in
Yes.
transit. Good evening, all. Thank you for coming out. I just wanted to say that Palante Harlem holds a meeting in that very office the first Thursday of each month. I can check with them and see if we can have one meeting dedicated just to this building, and they can address any of the legal issues that might come up and any questions from the residents. So that's something I can speak with Palante this week about and see if we can arrange something like that, if that would be helpful.
This Thursday.
They use this
Thank you.
conference room for the meetings on 617 West One, or whatever the building was on West.
This space is available to you. That's
Right, so if you're building.
Want to get your tenants together too, actually.
Yeah.
If you guys want to get your attendants together physically in the place, you are welcome to use, just let us know in advance.
This location.
Yes, you have to coordinate it with you.
Right, of course. Coordinate it with our staff, but just let us know. I'm gonna put
Okay,
my
well, just-
email in the chat in case you guys want to do that.
Yes, please, thank you.
So Astu Fall has a question.
Yes, and then
Just give us, this is Miss Cooks. I would just like to say, just give us a Thursday that is available for us to come together at Palante, and we'll see to it that the members of the building get contacted prior to the meeting. You know, just
Okay.
give us a date, the time. I guess in the evening would be more suitable because some people are still working. I don't know, what the hours are, usually about 6:30, 7 o'clock, I guess, would be sufficient for those that are working, I guess. I'm not sure, but I'm just putting that out there. Since you're offering the space to us, give us, option of, a date, an upcoming Thursday that would be suitable, or whatever day of the week that you think for that one meeting, that initial meeting you said on a Thursday.
Okay.
You also,
No,
yeah.
Victor was saying, Mrs. Cooks, that the first Thursday of each month, they have an open meeting time. So he would check into to see when they would be available for you. It might be this week Thursday, but as soon as he finds out, he'll let you know.
It won't be this week Thursday.
It won't be this week Thursday, but as soon as possible, we'll let you know.
I'll check out and see if they can do an evening meeting to suit, people who are working as well, but I'll definitely get back to you on that.
And once you reach out to Palante, they also could host you at their place, and then perhaps the lawyer could be on hand to chat with you, so.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm putting my email in the chat right now so that you guys can reach out.
So, Mr. Williams, we don't have a timetable for you because the community board is a volunteer set. It's a city body of 50 volunteer members appointed by the council, city council members and the borough president. And so, you know, our role is to make sure that people get connected to resources, make sure that our city agencies are responsive to folks' needs, and to, you know, be as helpful as we can. But it will ultimately be on the building owner, Mr. Klein, I guess, to repair and rehabilitate the building and restore you to your apartments. You know what, Signy? I'm gonna send you the link, I think, for DHCR to get the $1.
Okay,
The $1, yes.
I'll put that in the chat. So the DHCR link, I'll put in the chat in just a moment.
Okay, my name is Astu. I have a question, please. May I speak?
Yes, yes, you may speak, Astu, please.
Yes. So I lived in apartment 52 with my 3 children, almost 4 years now. And now we are put into 30 Convent Avenue. It's like a shelter for families. And just today, the person who gave us, whose name was under the lease, he rented to us and we were paying him. Just today, he said that he was on the lease and he came with his 3 children. So it's me and my 3 children, all of us together, my husband 5 and him and his 2 children that's older, that just came in out of nowhere. And they said that they want to get back the apartment. That's why they're doing this. So I just told them we just need a place to live. But they right now, I don't know what they fighting for. And I mean, I need help. I don't know what to do.
So you are a sublessor.
You should clarify that
Yes, I am.
That building is owned by West Harlem Group Assistance, so why is
No,
it
it's not. No, you in. 30 is owned by West Harlem Group. 2 St. Nicholas is not.
St. Nicholas Place.
Yes.
No, I'm talking about the temporary shelter and on Convent Avenue.
Yes, but that's not, so the issue is not with the shelter. The issue is that the lessor, the person on the lease, the tenant of record, is communicating with the landlord and does not intend to return Ms. Astu and her family to the apartment.
I see.
And the issue, again, the landlord will do anything they can to divide you, including buying out a tenant of record to screw over a sublessor. So you should join this group, this WhatsApp group, put in your email address or phone number so that they can add you to the WhatsApp group, attend these meetings, and speak with Palante to see what your options are in terms of being able to return to the building.
Are any electeds involved in this?
In what? Election?
Elected officials.
Elected officials.
If I'm right, what Barry is saying, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but back in the day, way back in the day, they had something called squatters' rights.
After 3 months.
Hey, if you live there over 3 months, you have rights to that apartment, and when it's renovated, whether that person that you are the lessee from, you should still be able to get an apartment in that building, whether he wants it or not.
Well, I think the people best equipped to answer those questions are going to be an attorney.
It would be an attorney that would answer it, but just from my experience in court, trust and believe.
So your council member is Yusuf Salam,
Yes.
who is new but fairly responsive. And we, can make sure that you all get connected to his office as well. He can be helpful in advocating for the city agencies to be responsive to the needs, especially Department of Buildings and Housing Preservation Development. DOB will need to permit all of the work and then clear the building to be no longer vacated so that folks can move in at the end of what will be likely a long process. The other thing is the other thing to be careful of is to make sure that the landlord doesn't try to get a substantial rehabilitation on the building. as Tiffany can tell you.
Cordell might be helpful too.
And Senator Cordell Claire will also likely be called, yes.
I lowered hands just so I can see if anybody has any more questions. So you've raised your hand in the reactions area if you have more questions online, or if anyone has questions in the room. And Ilana has a question.
So, I don't know if this is accurate because I read about it in an article, but apparently there was a door that was like left open that exacerbated the fire. And I thought, from what I remember, that there was an addition to the fire code where the doors had to be closing doors. I think it might have been after the fire in the Bronx a few years ago.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, maybe that's something to look into, to discuss with Palante, to see if there's any, I mean, I don't know, but again, to see if there's any violation. Right,
Well,
exactly.
definitely, that was a violation.
Right, but I mean, so that's something that you can bring up to, yeah.
Hello? Hello?
Yes. Yes.
My
Hi.
name,
Please.
how you
please say
doing?
hello. Hi.
My name is Sean White and I live in 54. My mom died last year around March, that's from cancer. And I had problems with that super in landlord since then, but I always lived in that apartment helping my mom even when she was well. Now, they used to cash her money orders in and say they never even received it, which I used to help her with the rent. Now, I always felt it kind of odd. I know the landlord from working in Hunts Point because I worked several different jobs, and he used to come and pray over the fish. I had no problems with the gentleman up till now, knowing that how like he's a little slow motion in the brain, right? So I turned myself over to God because I was gonna kill him. So what he done was he put several letters on my mail on my door talking about he served me, and March he was gonna get me out of there one way or another. March came and that's when that fire happened. So I think he had all of this stuff rigged up, which is fine. If nobody don't care to hear me, I'm going through something right now where high-low crushed my right leg and broke my bones in my leg in 5 places. So I got a pole from my kneecap all the way to my ankle. So they left my dead cat up there on the floor, kicked it to the side. Listen, I don't mean to make nobody feel no type of way, right? I'm 40
This is real
years old.
life. This is what you,
This is
yeah.
real life what's going on. I spoke to the gentleman on hand. I think his name is Goodman. He don't know me, but I know him, right? So this is why I changed myself over, excuse me, to the Lord, because I was really gonna kill him and those migrants he allowed parking 35 bikes
I
overnight
just
in
want to
front
say
of
this
that
is
building.
recorded, so do be a little careful with language.
Mommy, I'm gonna speak what I feel because
I hear
he
you.
knew what he
As
was
long as you're
doing.
okay with it, I just want to make sure you know.
I'm good. I got God.
All right,
And
cool,
I'm not and
cool.
I'm not
Please
listen.
speak. Please speak.
And he knew what he was doing when he allowed 1 to move in the 3rd floor and 17 to move on the 6th floor. They lived on the same line, so that's why these fires shot up to the 6th floor so rapidly and people burnt up, right? Now, I own the same bikes that they have, but I buy my bikes from the original store and I never charge them in my building because I do construction in the morning and we're allowed to park our bikes there and charge them. I never plug my batteries in those buildings because those wiring is faulty. It's been like that. We always had a problem with people. My neighbor had a problem with her ceiling fan, water leaking from the top floor. He never came to service it. He didn't care, right? They never ever swept the building. The exit door out the back was always filled with a bunch of garbage. So if it ever was a fire, you could not run out that exit door because you're supposed to have 2 exits to enter and get out of the building in case of emergency. He never cared about that. The super that used to live in the building on the 1st floor got out of there way before all this stuff popped off. And he got this new super in there that does not speak English. I have no problem with that. But when you come and you tell me you put a letter and 5 mail letters on my door stating that you're going to get me out no matter what, I think this is what he was gunning for. He was hoping maybe it would have been happening in the nighttime where it had been more casualties. Now, if he is still going to be the landlord of this building, they need to, I know what I'm doing, but they need to level up. Them cameras in the first floor do not work. The elevator, I got stuck in that elevator 3 times in between floors. And the super that used to be there used to tell me, you cannot carry material in this elevator overweight because it's not regulated, even if they have people coming in there fixing it. So the super never cared. The landlord that they got now, he don't know what's going on. He's a new guy. In fact, when my mom died, my brothers, family take what they want, just get out, leave, right? But when they start taking personal things like refrigerators and stoves, because I brought my mother all new material because the stuff that she had smelled like fire, electricity, the stove would come on, the gas leak. So I took it upon myself to buy everything new, and my brothers took everything. So I talked to the super one day with the app so that he could understand me, and he told me, no, 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 no. The boss said don't give him no help, don't help him. And they had the mailbox key for me to retrieve my mail. So now that they're gonna put a new mailbox system in there, maybe I'm able to get a mailbox key. And my mom lived there for 20 years. And prior to that, I lived with my mom's, helping my mom's before that. And my mail always came to my mom's house. So I want to know what's really gonna go on with this situation on my behalf. I could walk up and down the stairs without no elevator, no problem. But they need to have cameras in that building on the lobby, and they need to have cameras in the elevator. Those cameras never worked.
So everyone will be out of the building until it is repaired and passes inspection by the Department of Buildings. You sound like a tenant with what is known as succession rights. Because you lived in the apartment and helped your mom and helped pay the rent for all of those years preceding her death, and my condolences, by the way, you have a right to legally succeed her as the tenant of record on the lease. So you should be a part of this WhatsApp group. This is an issue that the attorney should help you address. And, there's a lot of complicated corners here, right? You've got succession rights. Ms. Fall has sublessor experience. Some people may have been illegally deregulated and given market leases. There's a lot of complication that people will need to have patience to work through together as a group so that you can all be restored to your apartments with legal leases, with the legal maximum rent.
All right, I understand what
Yeah.
you're saying. Now look, check this out. My mom had that cat that's still up in that apartment, dead, kicked to the corner. They never let me get up in that building before I got my leg crushed because the gentleman that was there at the door said, you have to make an appointment. You got to make an appointment to get my cat so I could get him cremated. So they just left my cat upstairs. So what I'm going to do is, this is my personal money, right? I'm going to sue the landlord to where he got to come to me and ask me, can he go in his bank account? That's how far I'm going to go. You feel me? Because a cat is just like a human to me. My other cat, they went up there and got it. The other cat could have survived if they would have just and my door wasn't locked. I left my door open when everything went down because I know how the alarm system and I know how the fireman do. They break, run, and go through everything. And I left those doors open, not wide open. I left the locks open. So if they open the door, they could just go in there and grab my cat. They got one out. The other one is not friendly, which is understandable because she's old. But at least I got my other cat. The other cat, I would rather have them bag it up. I could have took it to the animal spot and they could have did what they had to do. Now, when I go into my apartment, I asked the super, so Poppy, can you help me? What can I do to get my cat out of here? He said, well, cat dead. What you gonna do with the cat? So I'm like, what are you talking about what I'm doing with the cat? But this is their brain mentality. I don't know if they legalize weed now, so everybody's doing whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's going on, but I don't know what they're putting in the food. I don't know where their brain is at, but they quick to try to tell people they're gonna kick them out before they find out the proper way to do it. Because I wasn't gonna leave anyway. You feel what I'm saying? Now, who's to say in my apartment, me and my daughter lived there, I used to be a sneaker collector. I got thousands of pairs of sneakers in one room, right? That's over $500 or more. I'm gonna go back into my apartment. Who's gonna pay for my stuff that's damaged or even stolen? The guys that was putting the windows in, I had a camera hitting in my sneaker box where they couldn't see it. When they heard me talk through my camera, they kicked my website, my Wi-Fi out, and they was looking around. But I got pictures of them. So if anything is stolen, and it's the window guys that put the wood up, those are the ones that started robbing the people after everything was said and done. Which I got the pictures of 4 guys, and it don't take 4 guys to put one window in one room. It only takes one gentleman to go in one room to put a window up of wood. So I got their picture. I'ma just need their phone number from their company, because I know somebody did something in my room because they was snooping around looking on my dresser, and I had money up there. So since I wasn't able to go back into my apartment, I didn't say nothing, but I just want to keep that clarified for everybody to know. And those are the 3 guys that probably robbed my neighbors on the 6th floor and certain other places, because this is what they do. They come in disaster area, people running out, trying to save their lives, and you got other people coming in. You think they helping you, but they robbing you. So this is what we going through in that building, 2-4 St. Nicholas Place.
We all, if I may, we all have pictures, including me. We all have pictures of the people that are going inside your building with buckets in order to get belongings from outside the apartment. The fire commissioner, people that claim that they're going in that showed ID that said they were the fire department. The neighborhood is taking pictures of everything. I suggest, and I strongly suggest, that you stick with this and join this WhatsApp, and because they're gonna get a lawyer. And I understand that Volante is very effective. Just hang in there, my brother. And once again, I must tell you that I offer you my sincere condolences and sympathy for all that you're going through, to everybody at 2-4 St. Nicholas Place.
Thank you. I just wanted to. I'm gonna end this at this note. I'm happy we got an ear for the people, because without y'all, I don't think this guy would have just moved us in there, and I think he would have burnt us out again. I'm just saying, and I know how those guys move. They don't want. They want to collect insurance money, So y'all have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. White.
Hello, this is Miss Cooks. Before I just want to say one thing. I want to back it up just a little bit. 4 months ago, approximately 4:45 in the morning, I smelt gas. I'm at 53. Okay. I thought it was in my kitchen, but it wasn't. It was outside. And we had a gas leak in that same 33 apartment. I threw on my clothes and stuff and went knocking on all 5 doors from the 5th floor to the 1st floor, almost 5 o'clock in the morning. And with that being said, it was a gas leak at that time when they were renovating the apartment. Me and the young lady in 43, I want everybody to get this picture because it's important. We were sandwiched, me and the 43 were sandwiched between 63 with e-batteries and 33 with e-batteries. And 43, when she had a water leak, they came to me, they checked it out. There was no water leak in my apartment. So I said, let me go downstairs with Brian, the new young man. And I looked, it was water coming through a smoke detector light. But the young lady's bed had the gas meter suspended over it. So that meant part of my kitchen was her actual bedroom. I want you to think about what could have happened on that number 3 line, especially to me and her prior to this. So there's been a lot of violations going on for a long time. I'm not a new kid on the block. I've been there 38 years. I raised my daughter there. And there's been a lot of issues since this management took over I think it's about 15 years ago. It's always something with them. But I just want everybody to get the picture. This ain't just start with the e-batteries. It started with the gas leak when those people were in there working, renovating that apartment. So a lot could have really been much more serious than it. It's serious because we got burnt out and displaced. But thank God the majority of us are alive.
Ms. Cooks, Ms. Florence has asked that you put your email or phone number in the chat so that you can be added to the WhatsApp group.
Yes.
Okay,
I
I
just
thought I
want to,
gave it to her. Sure, no problem. I'll put it. I thought I gave it to you. I'll put it again. But I
yes,
just want everybody to
wait
get
a
the
minute.
I was asking that question for Mr. White.
Yes,
Oh, sorry.
Yes,
Okay,
Mr.
just-
White would
Got it.
like to have Mr. White add his number or email so that you can add to the WhatsApp.
To the
You're still on,
Ye-
Mr. Sean.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, thank you. This is Dorothy Montague of 2 St. Nicholas Place, apartment 34. I'll piggyback on Ms. Cook. I spoke with the management pertaining to the e-bike. I have pictures also of the e-bikes chained to the door. Chained to the gate. I spoke to management numerous of times about the batteries. I didn't see them in the apartment. I did see them carrying them to the apartment. Okay. I spoke with them and I told them this. I spoke with them numerous of times and they moved in, I think in December or January. And this is when the fire occurred. And then when I spoke to management pertaining to the batteries, of course, to no avail that I get when I spoke to them, I knew something was going to happen. I had the feeling, the spirit told me. I tried to talk to the tenants. Of course, they didn't understand English. So I, in turn, tried to use, I guess you say sign language to get through to the gentlemen to please be careful. Please be careful. And this is what happened. Thank you for listening.
I have just shared in the chat the link that Barry was talking about. This is the link right here. You can see this is about an overview. It says if you've been displaced from a fire, this is FAQs, and Barry, this is where they would submit online application.
Submit on that.
That's good. Hit the link, go down.
No, scroll up a little bit, that
I
red.
mean, yeah, I'm sorry.
This one right here.
Submit, yeah, that.
Okay, so that takes you to.
That online application that you can get rent for $1 a month.
I want to guide people through in case there's questions. Oh, it's not going on. Okay, well. It's computer slowness, but please go to the link and check it out. Yeah.
I think
Is there
some
anyone-
people have submitted.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
we know.
Very good.
Yes, thank you.
Share the information with each other. Not that one. By the way, Mr. White, we are all cat lovers here. You will find that everybody on this committee has cats, and I am heartbroken for you because I love my babies. They are my kids. So, but yes, I'm trying to train my cat. I don't know if you've ever tried to do that.
Okay.
Okay. Stop share. All right. Unless there's any final words on that, we just want to thank you all. Our hearts are all with you.
Yes.
Our prayers, our hearts. We want to make sure you guys have the power of voice, and together, that's what it takes, is to be one voice together. And you're stronger in numbers. We always say that, right? But it's true. You're stronger in numbers. So thank you for coming tonight.
Signe, before they log off, what I wanted to say was in relation to that, because there's more information, and I know the gentleman who was talking just now already jumped off, and I just wanted to warn people about what's next to come. This is the reason why I went to your building on the day of the fire, but unfortunately it was much later in the afternoon. The first thing, we already know about the vacate order. This happened in my building at 512 West 136. Thank you, Barry, for coming. Can we please, can I share the screen for a second?
I think I have it set so you can. Just try it.
So when my building had a fire in 2014, the landlord dragged his feet for 3 years. It took him 3 years to renovate. HPD sent 2 inspectors from their special investigations unit. They determined that the renovations should have taken between 3 to 12 months. And despite that, despite the tenants seeking the assistance of Palante and getting help from Manhattan Legal Services, the landlord still took 3 years to renovate. And then he went one by one trying to get rid of tenants. It was a building of 25 units. Half of them signed surrender agreements and went running for the hills. and the other half who remained in the building, he was relentless in making their lives miserable. That building, as of last year, as of last May, has now been entirely ruled as destabilized. I'm trying to pull up my screen here. This is one of the tricks that landlords are using now because MCIs are no longer as effective as what they used to be. They claim they use this old law that was in the books since before the STPA was passed, in the 1970s. They say, oh, the building needed a substantial renovation. And then they get the buildings to be completely deregulated. To jump on a few things, when someone said about the fire could have been a lot worse, the fire, or it could have actually been a lot less, because a lot of times these are old buildings that were never retrofitted. They blame tenants for things like not closing their doors. They blame tenants for things like having an overcharged power strip. That happened to the fire that took place in Jackson Heights, Queens. It happened in a number of other fires. Same thing in my building, overcharged power strip. In this case, it's e-batteries. We have to stop blaming tenants. Now, I'm not saying that those tenants were right for having batteries. Maybe a warning should have been issued. They probably had no idea. It might have been a cheap battery, whatever. That's not the point. The point is very often the landlord has tremendous blame. I was looking at pictures on Street Easy. I don't know how to switch screens. How do I switch to only this one screen?
You have to share your whole screen unless it's one of the links that's already up on your browser.
I think you guys can only see that photo. Were you able to see anything from the sub rehab?
We saw the post by Adam Latham Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, not that one.
Oh, I'm gonna have to stop.
There's currently a bill in the state Senate. It was co-sponsored by Brian Kavanaugh and Gustavo Rivera. It tackles some of these issues. How do I get to this right here?
We can see all the tabs.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can see all the tabs. Just go to the tab you want.
Okay, great. So this was Sunnyside, Queens, the same thing, overcharged power strip. This is my building. This was published in the fires. Again, in 2022, he did succeed in doing exactly that. Even though half of those tenants continue to remain there, they no longer have the right of the full rights of rent stabilization, like succession rights. This young man, for example, who passed in the fire, does anyone know which unit he lived in?
They might be off
The reason
line.
why I'm asking, the reason why I'm asking is because looking at pictures, you see this right here? This was a fire escape. This fire escape is in someone's bedroom. A lot of times they Frankenstein these apartments. They take what was once, say, a 2-bedroom and and what was once a living room now becomes someone's bedroom. So if you have a roommate who puts a lock on his door and and that person is not there, you have no way of accessing that fire escape. And of course, the fire spread even more because the door was left open, so the hallway was impossible. I would be curious to know, was he one of the people who had to jump from his window? These are the types of questions we need to ask. I really would love for us on this board to get, the last time I checked, that state bill was in the Senate, but there was no sister version in the Assembly. And I would love I guess maybe this would have to be another resolution, but we need to get a version of it in the Assembly. There needs to be, we have to organize this building, but it's also other communities around the city, because these fire evictions are going to continue happening. And negligent arson, we have to use those terms, negligent arson, because it is the only way that you can prevent a substantial rehabilitation from being passed. Despite ample evidence that I submitted to DHCR, they allowed this landlord to literally get away with murder. And it continues to happen. So language matters. That's oh, and one other, there's so many things to say about this. All right, I'll stop there. No.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Oh, sorry, as if
Go ahead, Tiffany.
call. All right, I'll just call her later. But if there's anybody else here who's finding themselves subletting as Astu is doing, she's paying more than what the legal rent is. That's profiteering. So that's also an overcharge claim. They put her and her family of 5 in a shelter. And then the gentleman who said, this is my apartment, he is the tenant of record, is now trying to get back into the building. So they've actually physically put him and his 2 adult sons, one of which has a sketchy record, they've put him now in her unit at 30 Convent Avenue.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes. She called, we were on the phone just before this call. They put, and I have nothing against anyone who has a criminal record. Absolutely, quite the contrary. But it is very concerning for a woman with 3 small children, one of which is a toddler, to be in this space with these 3 grown men.
Hold on. Is Miss Hall still on the line?
That's what I was trying to say, Barry, that it's the Convent Avenue, the sublessee and the tenant of record were in the same apartment.
Where was the tenant of record living?
Apparently he bought a house in the Bronx. I've been trying to look up his address. I told her, listen, you're using Zelle to pay him every month. There should be a way that you can reach out to your bank and find out where he's banking and what his actual address is.
Okay, so Ewan is absolutely right. Then we need to have a
So
conversation.
should get Donald Notice involved. This is his building.
Right.
Yeah, I'm very shocked when I came in today. I was signing out. I was signing in. They told me you have 3 of your family members coming in today, and we're moving you to another building. Instead of 30, we're moving you to building 26 because it has a bigger apartment because of your family. I said, what? No, we don't have more. They said, yes, you have 3 people coming in. So my husband, I called my husband, he came in. And now we're all in the building. They just left, but I know they're going to come back to sleep here, and I don't know what we're going to do.
That's so uncomfortable. Yeah.
And there are no locks. There are no locks on her doors, by the way, on her bedroom doors.
Yeah, we need to follow up with Donald then.
I have a question. Has Palante reached out? Have they connected with Palante, the guard?
And nobody here is has anyone online been reached out to by Palante or seen anyone from Palante or
No.
I'll take that as no.
No.
The guard will help out also like in whatever capacity to like help you guys.
Who should they contact?
I just gave everyone the information.
I don't have it. So there's also Goddard Riverside,
because I'm also just listening, like a certificate of no. These were illegally converted.
Should I give the phone number?
Yeah, these were illegally converted units. If there were people who were in their market rate, they need to check that as well. Like, there's a lot of organizing just with the tenants that needs to happen.
Yeah, so Ms. Fall, we want you to definitely, everybody who's organizing together, somebody be the point person, right? Not everybody calling. Make sure somebody calls Palante, and also I'm going to add the Goddard Riverside Law Project, which might be able to help you organize a bit.
Right.
9638. Okay, that's Goddard.
Signe, could the woman who is at 30 Convent or whatever that number is, put her name and telephone number and I'll connect her. I don't want to put Donald's cell number, for general access. And I will get that to her, yeah.
Talking about Ms. Fall, and Ms. Fall, you can private chat someone if you want. So you can private chat you in if you go, you should be able to. Okay, we'd like to move on, but I think we heard from everyone. I hope we heard from everyone. Thank you all for coming. You're welcome to continue to listen to our meeting because there's always more important information for you to hear. But thank you for being here tonight. And again, our hearts and love to you all. And please come back. We will have our general board meeting next Thursday, not this Thursday, but next Thursday. You coming out in numbers, that's where a lot of our elected officials come. We can hold them to the fire, so to say, with your voices in the room. That's always good. So thank you very much, everyone. We're going to move on in our agenda, but I hope all this information and coming together is helpful. I think it is.
As I'm heading out, I have to go to all.
Bye, Miriam. Thank you.
But if you need help organizing town.
All right. Thank you. Now, I'm gonna mute a few people here. Okay. Moving along in the agenda, let me see where we are.
We were in new business.
Yes. Okay, I think that was all of new business.
That was new, I think you kind of.
I think we took care of new business. Let's see, get the agenda back up here. 1 second, let me get the agenda back up just so we can get back on track. Okay, so yes, that takes care of new business. Get our screen back here. All right. So old business. I have not eaten since breakfast, so I'm going to ask some of my committee members to help while I take a snack. Work was busy today. City of Yes, zoning for housing opportunity. We are in the third phase of the City of Yes, the mayor's proposals for yes to housing, I guess we'll call it.
Yes.
I know Clayton joined a meeting about this. This is the next one down the line. We've done 2 already, carbon neutrality and economic opportunity. We did get some response from city planning, I believe, about changes they've made due to our input. I got an email a couple days ago about changes that they have made due to our input, so probably not all the changes we wanted.
Aubrey and Jose were on the line.
Oh, that's right. Are they still there? Jose and Audrey, can I ask
Hi,
you?
how's it going?
Hello. Maybe you can give a quick brief on what ZHO is.
Sure. Yeah, so ZHO is the third of 3 citywide text amendments. As you were saying, the first one was focused on carbon neutrality, the second was focused on economic opportunity, and the third is going to be focused on housing opportunity and creating additional housing in the city. So there are a number of proposals, not as many as ZEO, the Economic Opportunity Text Amendment. There are some that apply exclusively to lower density areas, of which there are none in CB9, and others that apply to high density areas like CB9, and some that apply or will apply citywide. Happy to share more or answer any questions you have at this time.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, because I'm so green. No, but this is what you're saying. This is Mayor Eric Adams creating some additional housing. And in community board 9, exactly what are you saying? If I put in a proposal saying that I wanted to buy, explain that to me. I really just don't understand it.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the zoning the zoning doesn't create the housing. It's not like a development plan or or a project that's going to be, built right away. It more creates the conditions for developing certain types of housing or incentivizing the development of housing. So it's not a project, it's more just like a set of rules or a modification to existing rules to encourage more affordable housing construction, conversion of office buildings to residential spaces, removing parking mandates, being able to add like accessory dwelling units, granny flats, they're sometimes called in low density neighborhoods. So things like that.
So what I would think of it as the changes to the zoning text just changes what someone is legally allowed to build on the land without having to get any special approvals. Obviously they still have to register the plans with the Department of Buildings, but as long as they follow the law for what is on that land, they can just do it, file their permits with DOB and get them, et cetera. That's called as of right development. So changes to the zoning text change what you are allowed to do with a piece of land that you own without having to get special permission from essentially the city council and the city planning commission. So
I'm showing on the screen right now the city's portal page about housing, the city of the housing.
I'm still sorry.
So please know that there is a website that does go into detail. It's nyc.gov/site, all of this, I'll put it in the chat. I'm put it in the chat and right now.
Okay.
Good. So that will be coming before us in the ULURP process, which means there is going to be a part of this process where the community has a voice in it, right? So there's going to be a 60-day period. We've not come there yet. We're ahead of the schedule of kind of reviewing and taking a look at this. So encourage everyone to be on this journey with us so we can hear your voice in the process, okay? And I hope that's the last one for a while. All right.
Can I add one thing quickly?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So I think we discussed this last time, but Jose and I and some folks from the housing team and zoning team would love to set up a conversation with the community board, just to hear about some of the issues that you're most concerned about in the community and get some input and feedback from you in a conversational setting, because we recognize that the last review of ZEO in particular was a really heavy lift, and we'd love to have a conversation prior to our official presentation to sort of tailor our responses and get some feedback from you. So if that's something you'd like to pursue, we did it with Community Board 12, and I think it went well. So we'd be very open to having that conversation if you have the availability.
Yeah, I think that's important. As people review these proposals, let us know if you have questions and concerns. We're putting together, as I did last time, a spreadsheet that goes through all the proposals and kind of lays out our concerns and such. So I think one of my biggest concerns is the universal
affordability preference.
affordable, yes, yeah. And of course, I know everybody's mentioned it, AMI is not affordable.
Yeah.
The other thing that I will add is from a purely review-driven perspective, I know Liz would also echo this, page numbers on the zoning text when it is released. Because that way we can, and then if you have like a bullet point in a PowerPoint, you can cite not just the chapter or section of the zoning that's getting changed, but also the page number of your text amendment document. Because the last one did not have any page numbers.
And how many pages was it, Barry?
1,200 or so. That's pretty long.
1,137 pages. I would say, sorry, this is Jose, and I don't have a camera today, but I just want to say exactly this is what we're looking for in preparation to the public review referral, this type of feedback. You know, we, as Audrey has mentioned, want to hear from you in terms of what worked, what is your concerns, and I know you guys are already, you know, gathering the list to send to us. We hope to send responses as we had done with the previous proposals, but this is the kind of, you know, feedback that we can provide now to our team for them to prepare. And yeah, we're looking forward to having this conversation. We might not be able to answer questions on the proposal, as you know, the text hasn't been finalized and shared with the liaisons yet. You know, this is still on the works. On the universal affordability preference, for example, there on the area median incomes are still being evaluated to see what would be the best fit for this. You know, since they will have a little more control, but then this is tied to the funding that will be available in terms of incentives. Right now, there is no, you know, a funding available for this, particularly in terms of forms or tax breaks or so. So a lot of these things are still in the works, but hopefully those are going to be resolved by the time this approach the public review, and we'll have, you know, some concrete responses to provide to you. And if we don't, we'll always get back to you.
Is there any feeling as to time frame when the text amendments might be out?
I believe we're still working, Audrey. I mean, you might have a little more information on this.
So late March to sometime in April is the dates that we were given.
Okay. All righty. Andres, you have your hand raised.
Yes, thank you, Signy. Apropos, you can all hear me, right?
Yeah.
So apropos of ULURP, you know, just in terms of what you mentioned, Barry, fewer opportunities or fewer sort of required reviews. Oh, by the way, the amendments, they seem like many of the things that people have been saying for a very long time here at the community board. The idea of building in every area is, you know, not exactly an innovation. So, but I do hope it looks like a good idea. My question is, how or do any of these tax amendments affect ULURP or interact with ULURP? And if so, how?
You mean affect the timeline of ULURP?
These are all under your ULURP. They're all going to go through ULURP.
No, what I gave a quick response on that. So in order to modify ULURP, we will have to go through a city law process, so similar to what the Green Fast Track is doing at the moment, where it's actually a separate review process to modify the actual law. So zoning text amendment are just modifying the zoning resolution in language into what is allowed or not, but no in terms of what the ULURP process entails.
But, you know, let's say the zoning requirements are changed. Would projects that would have otherwise required ULURP now no longer require the process?
That is very possible, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That's what you use, that's what it's called when you have the zoning requirements change, ULURP, right?
Yes.
I'm
Yep, you're learning.
You learn.
We use a lot of acronyms. We use a lot of acronyms.
It's uniform land
use review process.
Uniform.
So we use a lot of acronyms in this committee because it's a long tongue twister in a lot of cases, HDFCs, but if anybody doesn't know what things are, do not be afraid to raise your hand and ask, what is that? You shouldn't know because you're not in the weeds like we are. So
There's an FAQ on the website.
there's an FAQ on the way for the acronyms. There's an FAQ, there's an acronym for the acronyms. It's called an FAQ.
Listen,
All right.
I have an A in group, okay?
Thank you, Audrey and Jose, for helping us on that section.
I have a question.
Yeah, oh, sorry, Ilana,
That's
yes,
okay.
go ahead.
All right, this is really kind of
me up.
coming from left field, but I grew up in a time when Mitchell Lama was a good model for affordable kind of home. I mean, there was both, I grew up in Co-op City for a few years when I was young, and it was not exactly a rental or a co-op, it was kind of a nice affordable way to kind of, you know, get a return on what you're putting in. But anyway, is there any sort of, you know, like forethought for any of these types of programs? And again, pardon my ignorance in terms of like, you know, the financial aspect, if this is even possible, but is there any like forethought into bringing like a Mitchell Lama type of program back? I know they've been kind of phased out the past few years, but is that a forethought, you know, to kind of creating like a more permanent affordable?
Jose and Audrey, question for you, I think, or comment
Yeah.
or input.
So as much, you know, well, that would be really amazing if we could do that, because our department recognizes, you know, what a dire affordable housing crisis we're in. Unfortunately, that is not in our jurisdiction or capacity to do. You know, we can say where affordable housing can or can't be built, but we are not in charge of any of the programs or mechanisms for developing or financing that housing. I believe that would be the state agency, department. Oh, I'm forgetting the acronym. Maybe some of the. Thank you, DHCR or HPD, which is the city's Housing Preservation and Development Department.
Oh. Yes, Neil, I think UN had this wonderful conference this weekend, and Barry was actually one of the panel leaders. But somebody mentioned, I think in Gil Brewer's panel, like a Mitchell Lama 2, really, that would be a state, that would have to be state action.
State action. I was just wondering if that was kind of like in the mix with all of this kind of city of yes, like injecting affordable housing into the city type of thing, if that was, but it's good that that it's being brought up somewhere. So I'm happy to hear that. So thank you.
Andrea says it's a state, and there's an article on the Mitchell Lama model in the paper today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Which paper?
Put the link in if you have it, Andres.
Please. Thank you.
Great. Audrey and Jose, is there anything else we need to be aware of from DCP?
I dropped some links to some upcoming info sessions in the chat. I know that your board is very on top of this text amendment and attending these sessions. If it's of interest to anyone else, I find them extremely useful. So I encourage you to attend, and we'll definitely be in touch before referral to discuss next steps.
And they get recorded for later watch, right? So they can also watch later. Yeah.
Yes, they're all on YouTube.
Not all of us can come to meetings every night. Or at 10 a.m. or 2 in the afternoon on a weekday. All right. So where are we? That is City of Yes. Legislation we're watching. I know we have a reso coming up about Assembly Bill A4781, which Michael put together, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Is there any other legislation that we are newly aware of that we want to take note of? If not, let's see how fast we can get through this section. Developments we're watching. All right, Clayton, maybe you can help me with this section since you do some of the research for us. Clayton is very on top of helping us out, doing a little research on permits that have been pulled and things like that. One very unfortunate and sad thing is 451 Convent is coming down. That is one UN can talk in detail, I'm sure. We had conversations back in, was it 2022, when there was this risk of it coming down, and that got paused while they tried, you know, to get the owner to do something. The owner's a little notorious. She is a little notorious for not keeping up her buildings. We'll just say that. And there's other buildings she owns, so we need to keep an eye on this.
I was not aware that it was being demolished.
Yeah, oh, you went. Oh my God, you weren't? Okay, so.
Is
the
it
city-
down?
It's halfway down. I've been walking by it the last couple of days.
I was not aware of that. You know, I
So
haven't been
close.
able to walk the neighborhood as much as I
Yeah, oh
used
my
to
gosh,
because
you
of
went.
my ankle. But
Yeah, I think they were talking, Liz mentioned it, the landmarks and parks, last week as well. So the city put a demo permit in because the landlord was doing the repairs. As we know, that was the last we knew, was that the landlord was being put to the fire to do these repairs.
right, that
like-
was the last I know. Yeah.
That was like in 2022. Come to find out, she started the work, had a crew that was all permitted, good to go. But then in February, she had an illegal crew come in and start doing some work. And the work was then
Oh, God. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
yeah, they found problems. And so they immediately put a demo permit, the city put a demo permit on it. And within probably a week,
Yeah.
I saw a demo car out there, and I immediately was like, what the hell's going on? So we looked it up and we found that there was a demo permit.
Yeah.
And so it
Well,
is.
they did try, and landmarks did try
Yes.
to
And
save
we got
it,
a very
but
detailed email from LPC. Liz got actually a very detailed email message back from them about the history of this, and they have tried since 2013 to get this landmark.
I know the back history, but
You know the back history, yeah.
but I didn't know the current,
Yeah, it went by really fast. Now
right.
I would like to know what other buildings this woman owns so we can.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Hi. Would you say
Yes.
the building number for Compton Avenue again?
451. It actually is next to an empty lot that used to also be one of these landmarked buildings next door. And that came down, and now this is coming down. So now there's two lots that are up western.
So what happens to the lots?
So that is a good question, and it depends on what happens with them taking the landlord to court, and I think they can sue her for like market value, and I don't know how all the details work, but it could possibly, anybody else can give us more insight.
Trend of, you know.
I will try calling them tomorrow
To ask permission.
Thank you, Yuen.
to see what the next step is, but she does own one building, which is in bad shape, on Hamilton Terrace, and another on Convent, between 144th and 143rd. Actually, she owns two buildings on Hamilton Terrace.
Oh, he was sent for us. Nice to meet you. Yeah, and Anita has brought up a good point that we've had quite a few issues, with landmark buildings finding a way down. 142nd is a prime example. A developer bought up five count them lots, and are demolishing two of those. Beautiful row houses. These are buildings that should be further protected. They're just outside of some of our protection area. And then just above us at 157, I think, 158, what's his name? Julio something?
Yeah, Martinez.
Yeah, Martinez. He bought up 7 brownstones.
Javier Martinez. He bought up 6 buildings on 158th, and they're being demolished.
And they're being demolished, so.
But they're not protected. Landmarks has,
They're not protected, yeah. But,
Or 157?
158?
158, and it's out of this community board.
Exactly, but it is not just our community board that's dealing with this. Well, I just want to say hello to a new face in the room and say hello. Did you have?
Hello, my name is Arthur Lewis. I came specifically for this committee.
the first time coming to the meeting here, I was over there.
You were
Since 6:30, they adjourned and said, what are you here for? I said, I'm here for this information that they brought.
Oh, honey.
But I'm here just to, get some information in reference to some property that I own. So I don't want to interrupt, it's just a point of information to give me some guidance as to how this whole historic district works.
Well, this would be the time, I guess, to talk about it. So, tell us, who you are and what.
I have to speak. My name is Arthur Lewis.
Nice to meet you.
I'm a senior citizen.
Yes.
And I live in one of the historic zones, 100, St. Nicholas and 146 and 147th Street.
St. Nicholas what?
I'm gonna try and mute
St.
this
Nicholas
over here.
1, 724
Avenue,
St.
place, or
Nicholas
terrace?
Avenue, 726 St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas Avenue, between 146 and 147th Street. It's in a historic zone.
Yes, keep going. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to mute someone. There we go. Sorry.
And, we have, to give you a very brief history. My family is trying to get some specific information about how the city or the federal government works to give assistance to individuals who have property that need renovation, that's in historic zone. That's basically the gist of what I have here. At this point, we have the two buildings that we would like to renovate. We have, or seeking an architect to do the renovation. And what we also trying to do, is to get some guidance as from here. What is it that a resident of New York City can do to get assistance from the federal, state, or city to assist you in renovating these buildings? Okay. A brief history is, we have 724 and 726, about a year and a half ago, almost two. The facade on 726.
So this is towards Riverside.
Yeah, 726 is on the east side of St. Nicholas.
This is the one with the.
Came down. Oh, that's that one. Oh, yes, we know it.
That's that one. So we are trying to put together a team to see whether or not, what we could do. When you say, what is it that we can do? We have some ability to put 726, the facade came down.
Yeah.
724, we own 726 and 724. Structural engineers state, our structural, that 724 is intact and 726 is structurally intact. It was 726 that the partial facade came down. We are having some trouble with the building department. It appears, and I can't give you all the details because I don't know all the details. It appears that the building department may not have followed certain legal procedures in taking down the entire facade. What I mean, we met with the commissioner of housing, Rains, went through both buildings. It appears that there's some discrepancies that our structural engineers stated that had we had a structural engineering report, the front of 726, which is the problem, may not have had to be completely taken down. It also appears that the building department never gave us certain information about what they were doing. And when we went to the report, it appears that the building department took down the entire front.
of the building. So I can't give you any more details than that, other than it appears that the building department never gave us notification on many things, never filed the necessary report, never filed a structural report to justify. But they took it down, never notify us. So basically, the city of New York has accepted a suit against the city based upon what the building department did. So I said, let me come to see whether or not you have information that we could use to see what federal, state, or city monies could help in renovating the building.
Is UN?
It's also an
Mr.
took down the front, whether or not they submitted the proper historic zone. So this, so I'm just giving you an overview.
Yeah.
So why is he here? Because I want to find out what's federal, state, or city situation that might help you.
We haven't had a preservationist expert on the line.
Well, I'm not.
Information.
I don't know how much of an expert I am, but however, I do know a little bit about this building, Mr. Lewis, and I've also been talking to, at the time, with a set. So, the building department did not arbitrarily take down the building. It had to come down because there was illegal renovations being done in the building, which weakened the structure and caused a partial.
No, different project, UN, different
Oh,
project.
okay.
Yeah, I think, can we?
There's just too many buildings coming down here.
The landmarks preservation.
Yeah.
What am I trying to think of? The Landmark Conservancy UN has
Which
low
building
interest.
are we talking about now?
Wait, UN, we're talking about 724, 726 St. Nicholas,
And
where the
Mr.
facade came down.
And Mr. Lewis is interested in resources available to owners of residential buildings to assist with compliant rehabilitation and renovation of the buildings. So there's Landmarks Conservancy, which has, what do they have again?
If I could.
They have technical resources, architect, and they will help well, Jared is on. He just put the number in the chat. So the Conservancy will help him with technical resources as well as loans, low interest loans, and they will also help him to apply for tax credits.
Okay, so I need that in writing so I can refer to the
So
architect.
let me read it off to you and you can write it down. Landmarks Conservancy, 212.
You gotta call them, right?
Landmarks Conservancy, 212-995. 212-995.
5260.
What is your number, Mr. Lewis?
Pardon me?
What is your telephone number?
My telephone number is 646. 319. 8353. And if you've been contacted with Asset,
yes,
you have her number, you call her. She's the person directing.
Okay,
Hold on, you will ask to speak to.
Asset.
No, you.
Yes.
When you call that number, the Conservancy, you will ask to speak to Andrew Thomas.
ANDREW.
Yes.
Thomas, THOMAS.
And you will be asking about the Historic Properties Fund.
Historic Property.
Jared has another contact.
Yes, Blair Walsh, actually.
Blair
Walsh.
BLAIR.
E, yeah.
BLAIRE?
No,
Space.
WALSH.
Yes.
First name BLARE.
Yeah, I can speak to,
Walsh, WALSH. LSH, Walsh.
To ask
can-
for,
Barry, I can speak with him
question.
directly, so, because he's having difficulty with the PA, with the miking system. However,
Oh, he's just writing it down, UN, we're good.
Okay.
okay, who am I speaking to here?
UN Chin.
UN Chin.
I
So-
remember. Spell your name?
YUIEN. I will call you tomorrow, but I did have the building correct. That's a building on St. Nicholas, and Asset is a relative of
Yeah,
Mr.
we're,
Lewis.
but we're not gonna get into the whole back and forth with the DOB
Yeah.
because it sounds like there are some discrepancies with the DOB and there's a legal action.
And the city has accepted our suit to the city based upon this case, so that's a whole legal thing, but they felt enough to accept it.
Right, so we can't speak to the
Yes.
nuances and details
Yes.
there. But in terms of resources, the Landmarks Conservancy would be the first place to call.
Right.
And that's that number to speak to Blair Walsh or Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, well,
And so in addition to financing, they can help you apply for the state and federal tax credits that you can claim as a result of doing historic restoration of a historic building.
Andrew Thomas and William Walsh. So I will have my daughter, all these individuals, and then see what they tell her. I remember the Chins, they were working for us, but okay, let me leave it like that. I'm glad that they brought me here. I was sitting there for 2 hours. I said, you're only dealing with.
So actually, you came in at right at the great time that we were discussing this. We had a long discussion about some other buildings earlier. And
There was
you
a
came
fire on St.
There was
Nicholas
a
Place.
fire,
There
there's
was
been-
HDFC, so
You actually were right on time.
And you got a useful, up to date on the schools.
Right on time.
You came to the right place to try and connect you with the.
Yeah, because you can't, it's very, very difficult, and my experience, our experience is that
Yes.
the building department may not work for the people of the city of New York.
Yeah, we also just finished discussing 451 Convent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Wow. That's good.
Any other quick development things we wanted to discuss, Clayton, that,
Yes, two other things.
you brought some other things up.
Couple other things. So one is that maybe this, I don't know if Audrey or Jose has anything to say on this, but the Euler for 135th, the train.
Oh, yes.
number one has moved on, so that's in DCP's hands now. So I don't know.
You wanna ask Audrey and Jose? Are you still on, Audrey, Jose?
Jose's on, and Audrey.
Clayton's asking about, there's the ULURP on 135th, the train station, and it's in
Oh,
DCP's
I meant
hands?
to bring that presentation.
Do you have any, foresight on that?
Yeah, this is the project you emailed us about a week or two ago.
Yeah,
On
Yeah,
call that.
the project hasn't been certified yet. I believe there was a recent conversation regarding, some of the concerns that the board has shared that we shared that with the planner and also with the team leader who's managing this project and our, executive office. I believe, there are so many questions on the project regarding the rail yard right of way or different things which have been made, have been shared with the applicant. No, I believe it's still queued for certification, and I believe it might be coming around April. I can get more information on the specifics on this. I know it has been noticed, but it hasn't been certified yet.
Yeah, the only other piece of context that I would add that we haven't discussed is that if memory serves, part of the reason they need a rezoning for this lot to do this fakakta project is that the prior owner of the lot subdivided the lot and sold the rear portion of the western portion of the lot to Verizon. Because Verizon has that as a place to park its trucks. And, you know, they, I think, maintain some vehicles there, and I'm right about that, yeah. So they have already effectively cannibalized their own development rights. Right. By carving up their land and selling half of it to Verizon. So, you know, that property effectively cashed out on their development rights, and now they want a re-upping of what they've effectively already sold. And it's why that lot is such a tiny sliver of a thing, is because it was already cut in two.
That's a good flag. I'm not aware of the specifics on that, but that's a good flag. I think, you know, we were going more on the actual, I would say, like, you know, the pedestrian experience in the area. I think concerns that have been shared by the board, you know, the access, circulation, and specifically, you know, like the actual ability or, you know, conveyance of the land from the rail yard to the actual development.
Yeah, the rail is an issue, but also the fact that they are, I mean, they are where they are because, you know, they already took profit on this. Not the current owners, but they bought it after this subdivision had occurred, and they knew what the game was. And, you know, the fact that they then caused a street collapse, which they will deny, and DEP will say they did, and they will say they didn't, and I don't care. They'll blame their tenants. But the point is, up until 7 years ago, this was a perfectly functioning restaurant building that had, you know, 3 food venues, food and drink venues, and has a legally grandfathered in billboard that they appear not to be, you know, using to make any money, which is wild. So there's no economic necessity here. It's a site that is not suited for redevelopment. And also, the final piece I will add is that, you know, they reference the goal of the rezoning to preserve the, you know, heritage of Manhattanville, and then they propose tearing down the heritage of Manhattanville because that structure is a train yard, or it was a train maintenance and repair building functionally. And so that was an important part of the neighborhood that the community board wanted to preserve with the rezoning that occurred when Columbia used eminent domain to get their land for their campus, and then also got their special zoning district so they could build the new campus. That was rezoned as part of that, and that was a priority in that rezoning. So it's historically inappropriate. It goes against the, you know, the goals of the rezoning that occurred on that site prior. They've already taken profit on this by selling their development rights when they transferred the land to Verizon, and it's completely insane.
No, yeah, I you know, I think in the department we're trying to balance housing prices and you know, and how, you know, our statement has been consistently said to ensure that, you know, every possible land could be developed for housing and address this moonshot goal of developing all the needed housing units that we need to match the actual, you know, existing need. But also, yeah, we are conscious of this. I think I don't know if it's going to certify or not, to be 100% sure with you. I can find that out, but I think it will be a, you know, perhaps rocky public review, to say the least. You know, we have heard also from the board president and in terms of like about the status of the application, the support or not. But there's a lot of conversations going on, and I'm gonna try to, you know, and just to one more question here. The applicant hasn't reached out to the board, right? Or scheduled.
Nope.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
This is the one with the studios and then the no windows, right? That we met about years and years ago, and it's still the same configuration, right?
No windows on the west.
Right, no windows, right? And
Yeah,
then
we
it's
don't
like
have a
many
picture of that.
studios, right? There's like mostly studio units, all like market rate. Is that what? Still the same thing that we saw like years ago, right?
Yeah, on Zap.
Yeah.
All right. We can look a little further into it.
The
Okay, go ahead.
other item is that
Yes.
there are interior demo permits at McGifford Hall.
McGifford Hall on Columbia, in Columbia.
That's not,
That Columbia owns, right?
the Riverside Church.
Oh, Riverside Church, okay, Riverside Church owns, thank you.
Yeah, that's 99 Claremont.
I lose track of who owns what.
It's a lot, yeah. And then the last smaller thing is I talked with someone at the Borough President's office, I reached out last time about the bus depot
One
there.
1381 Amsterdam.
And I think they're interested in they're definitely interested in that, and obviously extremely early phases. And I think what they would be interested in from us would be like an articulation of what types of things we want there, and be like, you know, a display of whether there is enthusiasm or not for affordable housing on that site, which would be like near the, you know, like near the sites we talked about last week, that are developed. So I don't know, that's obviously a bigger discussion, maybe that would be something we table for the future meeting. But I think what they were basically saying is that like the main relevant decision makers there would be the governor's office, because they're the ones with funding and they're also with the MTA. Or they would be most in touch with the MTA with the owners of the site, so.
Right, so the deal is we have very little lands to develop in this area until they start tearing down our landmarks.
Did they do an environmental assessment? It was the bus depot, or has that been done yet?
I don't think so. I don't think Borough President's office does do that. Like, there definitely needs to be some type of.
It's this building here, it's a low rise, it's, you know, low hanging building here, right? So the idea would be it's under, not being, you know.
I know We Act has a particular interest in that building.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Might wanna look at this.
So I'm confused, maybe I missed something, because I've been half asleep.
We had one step.
Welcome back, Annette.
Mark Levine, who is a major proponent of affordable housing, says, I don't know what we're gonna do with that, and it's up to the state because they require the funding. Am I understanding?
What was their response at Borough President's office? They're the ones that proposed the site, yeah?
Right.
I mean, they don't hold really any power to decide, you know, they can help advocate for it, others can help advocate for it as well, but like, at the end of the day, it's owned by the MTA and, you know, the funding will need to come from HPD.
Right.
So, you know, I think their take is they have a number of sites like this that they're looking at, they can, you know, advocate for affordable housing on sites, and it's easier for them to advocate for these sites if community boards are on board and, you know.
They have a plan to take to them, is, you know,
Right.
that the community board is already in favor of, I guess, so. It is one of the rare places that we could do more affordable housing perhaps, and that would probably be our priority, but especially in that location.
Yeah, they said the next step would probably be something for resolution. So maybe we could add that to.
Let's add it to
next
another.
section.
That's 99 Claremont Avenue.
No,
That's
it's Amsterdam.
1381 Amsterdam, it's the old bus depot.
It would make a great cultural space.
Yeah, well, if we act interested, I guess that's another option.
Yeah, and you know, retain the original building and retrofit it to build
Well,
affordable housing over it.
Let's reserve some time, maybe next meeting, to talk about what we'd like to see there. Cause you know us, we wanna be on the first ground floor of.
Yeah.
Moving along in the agenda, public member updates, Jared, if you have anything, but the only thing I wanted to mention was discretionary funds. I honestly have not been able to think much about doing workshops and forums and things like this. I've been a little overwhelmed, but if anybody has ideas, those need to be in by what, 3/21, I think, just like a week. This is discretionary funds for the community board, meaning funds that we can use for outreach to the community. If anyone has, thoughts on that and can help lead the way on that, that's the first question. We've done workshops in the past on various issues. We've done, maybe it could be a visioning meeting for what we could see at the bus depot, right?
Maybe we can work with, oh my God, my brain is like failing, Miriam with the daughter, that we could do like, maybe like a legal services primer type of thing, and that way we don't have, because my plate is like only going to, but we can have them come in and lead
I
the
think
way.
she's offered to possibly do something like that, so we could put, I think we can ask for up to $1,000 to support something like that. So that's a thought, maybe some sort of visioning for the bus depot. I mean, I could quickly put something together that just says, these are our ideas, we'd like to, but we'd have to have it, am I correct? We have to use the money by June?
30th.
June 30th. So it's quick turnaround. All right, is there a hand, somebody said?
Tiffany is a suggestion.
Tiffany, go ahead and make your suggestion. Oh.
Should I do it here or online?
You can send it to me because I just put it into a quick proposal of our thoughts and. But I mean,
I'll just say briefly that there are not enough STEM programs. It's really frustrating that the programs that are incredibly expensive, and there are lots of ways that we can have kids, especially in primary school or even younger in preschool. Such a program exists at the Museum of Natural History.
I love the idea. Let's bring it to the Youth and Education to request those discretionary funds, though.
What? I'm sorry.
I said I love the idea, but that is a Youth and Education Committee discretionary funds request.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we're talking housing specific.
All right. Got it.
Kind of out in left field that we're doing that art project with housing, videotaping people, asking them for their memories of housing. I don't know.
So this money is earmarked for outreach to the community on work that we're doing to get the word out on what we're up to. So I don't know if that, unless it's something the community board is involved.
Show it, but.
Yeah.
How about organizing sessions on community empowerment and organizing people in subsidized housing, just like what we were talking about earlier with, St. Nicholas Place, with people trying to organize.
I think that's exactly what Ilana was mentioning with Miriam, because Miriam is interested perhaps to do something like that. So, and we of course have some wonderful resources like Palante and all of this, which they already use some amazing things, but Miriam did offer, so maybe we reach out to her and see if, can we, put in some funds for that, visionary.
Like emergency response, who do you go to? What are the resources and how do you protect and empower yourself so that you end up, in a right place?
Yeah. Funding, Tiffany, is usually it's about $1,000 per committee, sometimes more if not all the committees are using it. But it is earmarked specifically for outreach. It's not like we can use it for anything. There's some flexibility there, but it's mostly for outreach, meaning what we do to get the word out and outreaching to our community. So
right, and so it can be used for a special event. In the past, we've used it for a charrette for the RKO Hamilton.
Yes.
We've used it for an HGFC. We've used it for a number of HGFC forums, actually, going back all the way to at least 2016.
Maybe we reach out to WEAC and see what their interest is in the bus depot and think about maybe a joint thing. I think the thing with Miriam is the best case scenario right now, maybe. But any other thoughts? If not, we'll move along. Jared, anything from the public members that you really want us to know? Any update? Okay.
So when you submit, for that funding, right?
Uh-huh.
It has to, when do you receive approval or disapproval?
Pretty quickly, it just goes into the office here, so.
Oh, it goes, oh, it's right here.
And I think senior committee already has done some,
The Senior Issues, or Senior Action Committee has done a number of these, I think the health fair
The
is
thing
also.
that we're doing, that's what I was.
yeah, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about.
And,
yeah.
and so Deirdre and Victor are probably the ones who make a decision on that as chair and treasurer.
Yeah.
That's $1,000.
Yeah, it's the usual amount,
Somewhere around there.
usual maximum.
The usual maximum.
Yeah. All right, moving along, NYCHA, anybody have any updates on NYCHA? The only thing I want to see if anyone here could attend meetings on the fourth Tuesday, there's a We Act group that needs to talk about NYCHA, environmental concerns. Interested in that and wants to report back to us about what they learned. I'm putting it out there.
Did you?
We're gonna send it in.
Or the fall?
It's on the fourth Thursdays of the month, so. RKO Hamilton Theater Task Force update, that's a task force that kind of was born out of this committee, but it's its own entity across, a task force runs across all committees, because it includes arts and culture, and we had a visioning meeting on this 7 years ago. I want to say now, was it 7 or 8 years? It's been a while since we had that visioning meeting. About what the community would like to see at the RKO Hamilton, which is on 146 and Broadway. The theater is still intact in the back. It's kind of an empty shell now, but there's been a lot of discussion. Our community board member, who is he officially off the board? We don't know yet. Dan Cohen was leading that, but he's not going to be on the board anymore. So we're looking for someone to kind of take up the lead on that. We need to make dinner plans, Barry, with someone. Miss April. See if we can get someone to help lead that. Any TIL updates? Oh, Netta Washington, do you have a question?
This question went back to about the funding, the discretionary funding. I mentioned something in the chat. I'm sorry, you went fast, so it was a question. It's the question I mentioned.
Oh, sorry, I don't see anything in the chat.
It's tenant rights organized.
Oh, I see it right before Tiffany.
Yeah, we could, but we need to have a budget and someone willing to take it on. So it's frequently been, we had a NYCHA forum 1 year at our children's foundation. Remember that?
Yep.
We had, if there's, this is not like a grant to a nonprofit. This is something that the community board spends its own money on to host an event or conduct outreach, et cetera. And so, if there's a specific proposal, we'd be happy to hear it.
So how do we submit that information?
It's something that we take from you all as suggestions. We submit it as a committee. We submit it to our offices.
Right. So how do I send you an email for a suggestion?
You can send it to me, Netta. You can send it to me at signysings@gmail.com, which I'll send to you in the chat right now.
So that's like accountable spending of paid cash with a maximum of $1,000.
Yeah, earmarked for outreach.
Although it's no longer a reimbursement-based process.
I was going to ask you, Barry.
We have a P card. Thank you, Madison.
Wonderful, meaning that we don't have to spend our money up front and then.
As long as they take a credit card.
Perfect.
Okay.
It can't be cash transactions.
It's not a cash transaction.
Right.
And you get and the card comes from you.
No, the card comes from you.
Yeah.
From you.
We could probably do one event before June. I could imagine doing that, but we would need someone, like a Miriam or someone who wants to help lead that. So.
Right.
All right, Walter, did you have a question?
No, I have a comment. Regarding, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Regarding the RKO project, I was on that committee Tina and I were reporting back to the arts and culture about what was the progress on that, and we lost touch with everything. But I'd like to be involved in that. So if anybody's picking that up, I don't want to lead it, but I'll be glad to throw a couple
That was
toes.
my next question, Walter.
Yes, I'll be glad to throw a couple of toes.
We're trying, there's someone we're trying to convince, and we've got to take her out to dinner. I know Walter would be perfect for that. I just heard him say no, though.
No, I'm not going to say no. I'm really interested in this project. The theaters that have been renovated in the city, the one on the concourse, the River Lights Church, King's Theater in Brooklyn, why can't the one in Harlem be renovated as well? There's a lot of money out there. I'm not familiar with funding and proposals and all that stuff, but I'm willing to get my feet wet. So anybody, I'd be glad to bring the thing back up and see if I can get this ball started up again.
All right.
Okay.
All right. All right, we're almost there, you guys. Let's try and get this. Anything on Till we should know, Barry?
There are meetings, no, there are meetings with city council folks going on, trying to get them to include it in the budget for the year.
Okay.
I'm so sorry to be honest.
We already kind of had some discussion about HDFC. Is Vincent, did you make it to the end? No, I don't think you did. So we'll have Vincent here next year. He's the director for the WHDC's HDFC center. Thank you. Getting late, guys. So we'll hope to hear more from him. Andres, yes, HDFC owner.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed. I got here a little late. You said Vince is coming next year, or
He's coming next meeting next month.
Yeah, you said next year.
To give us updates, yeah, on Resource Center.
Oh, okay, all right. Thank you. Did he say anything important?
He just spoke in favor of the letter for Anita's building.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
That was it. Okay, I know there's a bit of an MHCC update, or you sent some emails trying to push them to make sure we had representation.
No, so the community board is a co-applicant on this rezoning of Morningside Heights with the city council land use division. The first time the community board, a community board anywhere, has been an applicant on a zoning action. City Council Land Use Division took it upon themselves to meet with Morningside Heights Community Coalition to give them an update on some proposed changes that they have not yet run by us or met with us about, which is inappropriate, which we have made clear to them and will be following up. But the goal is to reduce the number of sites. So currently there are a number of buildings in Morningside Heights that do not comply with the existing zoning regulations that have been in place since the 1960s. Any rezoning of the neighborhood should ideally reduce the number of sites that are non-compliant. I don't think they're taking into account the baseline correctly, because I don't think they're counting grandfathered in commercial spaces as non-compliant. But I think city council land use had some ideas about how to address the non-compliance rate.
Okay.
So we have to find a date to meet with them.
Got it.
Are these updates available anywhere?
No, we haven't seen them. We haven't been briefed on them. Hence our irritation and disappointment.
Yeah.
Are the MHCC meetings like public, or like are the minutes that are posted anywhere?
They might. They used to have a bunch of like public. They would have public meetings every month.
Yeah, I know there's a Just Housing Committee that meets pretty regularly right now.
Right. Yeah, I would have to.
If you want to get on that list, I can ask for them to.
Yeah, I
do.
talked to them now.
Oh, you have, so are you on that list?
Yeah, but they've never contacted me about actual meetings, but yeah.
Oh, well, he has a list of people he sends.
Okay, I can get used to.
Dan, do you have Dan's information?
I don't think so. I talked to other people.
He's the one that organizes the.
Yeah, Dan Sweeney.
Yeah.
They used to have meetings regularly in the one of the meeting rooms at Morningside Gardens.
Oh, yeah.
If it was 80 or 100 LaSalle. But most of that memory. is
Ask
pretty
them
close.
with Sweeney to make sure you get on that. You're interested. All right, film and TV task force, I've noticed that film and TV is back, the strike is over.
So
Things are picking up. Yeah, so they're coming back. Do know that if you have those notices pop up on your block saying that they're gonna film something, you can often call the number on that and say, hey, you're taking up our parking, you're giving a little nuisance to our people on the block, wanna give something to, but you have to have some sort of organization they can give it to, like a block association, which I've done before and gotten, a little bit of money from those production companies, or churches would do it.
We tried to get it for the comment, for one place, but
Yeah.
this was like last year, but they didn't, so it's not always a go.
They don't always do it.
They're always coming.
Yeah, they have funds to do that kind of thing, it's production companies. So don't be afraid to call the number and ask. Just ask.
It's worth a shot.
Yeah, I think I got like $800 out of them once for our block association.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gave us some good, money for our parties and things. So, do be aware of that. All right, let's go to action items. And the only action item that we have is Michael, who has been patient this whole meeting. You still there, Michael? You made it to the bitter end. Let me share on the screen your reso from last time so that we can just take a final look. See if we have any addendums, changes, and then we can present this to the executive committee on Thursday. This, Michael, do you want to just give a brief of your own reso you brought to us?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll promise to make it short because I know it's a long meeting today. So yeah, just a basic summary from last month. This is a resolution that's going to be heard. It's currently on calendar, meaning that it's about to be debated on the state assembly floor. And we're going to be encouraging our state assembly members to sign on to this resolution. I did some research, and part of the reason why the legislation failed previously, not only was it on the city level, but they also tried to pass something similar in 2019. And what ended up happening with that is that it was a general ban on brokers' fees. And I think that through this assembly bill, we're hopefully going to get around that by only stating that a landlord cannot force tenants to essentially pay this broker's fee. Now, there's nothing wrong with brokers. And, I've contemplated this for a while. Perhaps when I first talked about this topic, it came at the wrong direction, blaming the brokers, but the brokers aren't the problem in this situation. It's the landlord that uses these brokers and then refuses to pay those brokers that they had used to advertise the apartment. So if landlords want to use brokers, by all means, they can. This legislation is just to entail that you cannot put, the price of those brokers' fees, which can sometimes go up to 15%. You can't put that on the tenants, and that's not how it is anywhere else. You look at Boston, you look at Philadelphia, two major Atlantic cities, very similar to New York. They don't have this problem. You look on the West Coast, large city like New York with Los Angeles, they don't have this problem. I know that New York is a very exceptional city. There's a reason why people always want to move here, and it's in high demand. But I don't think this aspect of New York is exceptional, in part because it's putting the price of renting a new apartment on tenants, and it's disproportionately affecting people of color who come from lower income communities that may not have traditional means of paying for these apartments. And it also affects seniors. So the intention of this bill is to, just to make sure that if you're going to be going through a broker as a landlord, that they're going to be the ones paying for it. It should not be falling on the renters. Renters should not be forking over thousands of dollars for this. If a private renter wants to go through a broker to help them find a new apartment, by all means, it's fine. But there should be a form of direct communication between the landlord and the tenant that should be established. And if that landlord wants to use a broker, then, hey, you got to pay for it. So that's my proposition. I feel like that's pretty straightforward. By all means, go ahead and read through it. You know, we're represented in West Harlem by 3 state assembly members. And I only put down the numbers 69, 70, and 71. I don't remember all the names on the top of my head. That being said, they're not co-sponsors to this bill. So when we go to the general community board meeting, we're going to ask them as far as why they do not co-sponsor this bill and where they stand as far as supporting it. I just want to add one last addendum, which is that the New York State Assembly was very quick when it came to figuring out congressional representation. They threw out a bipartisan bill. They created a new bill that basically drafted up a whole new plan. They amended it into law, and they were able to do this all within 1 week's time. And so I ask you, as you know, fellow community board members, people that are residents in Manhattan, why is it that politicians are so quick to solve problems that affect them and their futures, but they're not, you know, addressing the issues that are affecting us today and that are going to affect us tomorrow? So I kindly request that we get consent on this resolution. If there's any amendments that you guys would like to add, I know that Barry had concerns previously about the co-op space and fees. I did contemplate that for a while, and I think the reasoning behind that, why they included that resolution, is that if you're an owner of a co-op, they're assuming that you're not, you know, some large corporation that has these means to, you know, go for a broker. Perhaps that's the reasoning, right? They're not like a.
No, Michael, the issue was that they did exempt co-ops, which is good, but the exemption specifically did not apply to HDFCs. And HDFCs should be treated like regular market co-ops. And I mean, the way it generally works, and it's not usually abused, is that when you apply to purchase stock in a co-op and get an apartment in the building, you pay a fee to the property management company usually, or to the co-op directly. And the fee, you know, there's background checks. There's a lot of like review of financial documents that they have lawyers and accountants sometimes review. And so the point is, the legislators who wrote this bill acknowledge that those fees are reasonable when you're purchasing the co-op, that the co-op can charge you that fee to apply to purchase. But then they say, well, HDFCs can't charge that fee. And the only amendment I would request is that we call for that language in the legislation to not exclude HDFCs.
Right, in that I'm in agreement, you know, and again, if you guys have any amendments to add, by all means, I would go ahead and do so.
Let's pause now and take questions and or amendments. Barry, where would you suggest we amend?
You need a whereas clause, maybe, no, 2 up. So right after equitable access to housing and then insert a new whereas clause. Whereas the current language of A4781 recognizes
4781.
the appropriateness of
Getting there. Yeah.
application fees for co-op purchasers.
Okay.
But unfairly for co-op purchasers before but unfairly and exempts co-ops from this regulation, comma, but unfairly excludes
Okay,
HDFC co-ops and Mitchell Lamas, actually, if memory serves. From the carve out for co-ops. And then semicolon, and then another whereas, just saying that HDFCs and Mitchell Lamas are important. We can dress it up later. You know, like we got a lot of HDFCs. We've got 626 Riverside. I think it's the last Mitchell Lama co-op we have. And then a new first, therefore be it resolved.
yeah,
That Manhattan Community Board 9 calls on the sponsors of a 4781 to remove, now I gotta look at the language. Hold on. 781. Okay, let's see here. So the exact language, give me just a second. Exemption co-ops. Full text.
I've got it up here too.
So the language, and then in quotes, other than, oh, if you want to copy it directly from the website, that's easier.
Yeah, I just grabbed the website, so.
Yeah,
What is it?
it's the language that says, other than a cooperative housing corporation subject to provisions of Article 245 or Article 11 of private housing finance law.
Okay, find it. Know where you mean, but this might not be the right.
The link is in the chat.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, the New York Senate.gov/legislation/bills 2023/84781.
Oh, okay, hold on, let me go back to my Zoom. Ah, thank you. No, that's the one I have up. I'm just trying to find the language.
So, yeah, what Tiffany just pasted.
Thank you. That helps. Very helpful.
Except cut it off at private housing finance law.
All right. That's in quotes, right?
Yeah, and then end quote from the bill text, semicolon.
Like that.
Yeah.
Michael, do you accept these friendly amendments?
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to add that, you know, yeah, I think it's great that that if anybody has any comments, go ahead and do so. And as Tiffany had asked, you know, does this have any strength to it? I think it does. I think part of the problem with the 2019 resolution that was passed is that the government was immediately put on defense when it got sued by the real estate lobby. So by giving them a heads up, you know, I know some people at the New York Attorney General's office from when I worked there, and one of my professors is one of the, you know, lead council members just under Letitia James. So, you know, we'll make them well aware of what's going to happen, so that way they can draw up legal theories. So when they do have to play defense on this bill, which is inevitably going to happen, they're, you know, the state of New York is going to get sued over this. But when it does happen, they'll be ready. So, you know, I think there's going to be some teeth behind it.
Heather, just in response to your comment, It is unfortunately a frequent abusive practice in the New York rental market when you are a tenant looking for a rental apartment, that a landlord will hire a broker to list their apartment, but then the landlord will make the tenant pay the broker's fee in order to get the lease, rather than the landlord paying the broker for their services. So this is not a case where a tenant has gone out and hired their own broker, which of course they should and must pay. It is a case where a landlord has hired a broker, but told the broker that the tenant will pay their fee. So that's what this is banning. And nothing in this bill would stop a landlord from paying a broker to list an apartment.
I think you misunderstand. The landlord doesn't pay the broker to list the apartment. If the tenant chooses or renter chooses to use a broker to help them find an apartment, then they should pay for that service. I can understand the point where if the tenant finds the apartment and then the landlord says, "Oh no, go and talk to my broker about it." That's different. But I'm just saying people should be paid for their services. If you're an attorney, you want to be paid for your service. You don't say, "Oh, well, I'm going to give my service away for free."
Right, no, but
It's a service you're paying for.
But that thing that you said, that's different, that's what this is banning. It's not banning a tenant from using a broker. And it's not banning the landlord from using a broker. It's banning a tenant, it's banning the situation where a tenant says to the landlord, "I'd like to rent your apartment." And the landlord says, "Talk to my broker." And then the broker says, "Yes, you can rent the apartment, pay me 10 grand," or whatever. I mean, it can be $1,000, it can be 10,000. But the point is, if you're a landlord and you choose to use a broker, then you shouldn't make the tenant pay the broker. And that's what this is banning. And it's common and scuzzy and unscrupulous, and it sucks and it should be banned.
Well, if the tenant found the apartment based on a listing that the broker provided, then they should pay for that service. If the landlord is not advertising and they find it through a broker, which is generally the way things happen, then the tenant needs to pay for that service.
Well, I just want to input this. It's pretty hard to get hold of landlords directly, and it's pretty hard to figure out who owns a property. So when I worked at the IRS,
Then you're using a listing service then, and you have to pay for that listing service.
right. So the point I was trying to make is that when I was working at the IRS, we'd have to go to the county's office to figure out who owns a property to ensure that, like, hey, if we're going to be taking action against this individual, we need to make sure 100% who owns this property. And I don't think that people have to or should have to go through this entire process to be able to figure out, one, who's the landlord, and two, if you have to go through an agent, that's completely fine, right? It's not to say that the agent shouldn't be paid. That's not the argument we're trying to make.
Well, the advertising is coming from somewhere. If the landlord puts a sign outside their front window or whatever, say apartments for rent by the landlord, then fine, there's no fee. But if the landlord is using a broker, and is advertising, then the broker needs to be paid. The way this is written, it keeps indicating that
the landlord would pay the broker in this new reality should this bill pass. If the landlord wants to advertise an apartment, they would pay a broker to advertise it.
I say we call to vote and stop conversation on this bill, or this reso.
I move.
So, yeah.
Is there a second?
Second. And if you vote no, you vote no. And if you vote yes, you vote yes. So we are going to roll call now. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 committee members here in person, and who's online? We still have them?
No one from the committee, but several members of the board.
Okay, so we have 5 members of the committee. Those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those against, nay. Okay, so 5 members. Public members, Jared, you still on?
Good for him.
Good. Not on.
But it needs
Anita, how do you vote? Aye, nay? Yes. Yes. And then other community board members, I have a feeling we have to go around, so
We have
let's.
to go around on all meetings, if it would, if I were in another meeting, would I do the same procedure?
Well, no, this is just how we, housing and land use and zoning. have
We like to
always
make sure everybody is heard.
done. Yeah. Well, credit goes to April Tyler.
April Tyler.
That's nice, that's
Yeah,
nice.
no, April was, made sure everybody's voice was heard. And they go in the minutes, not all of them are official on record. That's
Right,
just
right,
committee.
I got it.
Okay, that said, public members we did. Now, community board members that are not part of the committee, all in favor online or in person,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay.
Nay.
Heather says nay.
And Walter,
Walter,
Michael,
Michael,
and Ms.
Andrew?
Reverend Caldwell.
and Ms.
Andres is not a member of the.
And Clayton, whatever you.
The Jared says he votes yes.
And Jared votes. And remaining public on the call, give us a group yay if you say yay. Or a group no if you say no. Okay, nobody had an opinion on that. Abstain, yeah. You can abstain as well, that is true. Okay, so it passes our committee. Now it will go to executive committee on Thursday and then our general board. We have 2 action items. We need to finish this paragraph about yada yada, HDFCs and Michelamas and how important they are and perhaps a little data.
Okay.
Michael, maybe you can help us out?
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever you guys need help with, I'm more than happy to help out with that.
Okay, we are done with the action items. There's only one more item on the agenda.
Wait,
Annette,
sorry,
would you like to?
Did we vote earlier on the reso?
We did.
Oh, you did on that.
Oh, I just have one
Yeah.
quick question.
Yes.
How is it good to coordinate with elected officials like Brew, Levine, and then Councilmember Brewer said that her office is also looking into it and maybe they would like to help. I don't know how. I
On
don't
this
know how to
particular bill
coordinate
resume?
with that. Oh, no, with the one,
talking
with
about
the other action item.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Oh, the one on 501 West.
Yes, and you're asking
How to coordinate with elected officials.
what you've been doing. I really,
Yeah, I mean, just, be
You had
specific
Sean-
about what you need them
you
to
had
do.
done a letter. I mean, the letter is
Yeah, and.
strong.
Right.
They requested that you get community board 9 to do the same, right? So that's to strengthen their letter.
And then you can.
And should we add Gail's office?
CC all of them, right?
I don't know, it's not Gail's area, so I don't.
Gail's,
It started when she.
It's not,
when she was.
it started when she
Manhattan
was borough president,
yeah.
so it wouldn't hurt. I
Yeah,
mean,
you can forward what we've written to her office and then ask if they can check in again with HPD or court. But the count for the reso vote at the top of the meeting
Yes.
was 5 in favor of the committee with none opposed, 1 public member in favor with 1 abstent, or with 1 present not entitled, 6 community board 9 members in favor with none opposed and none abstaining, and then the community was generally a yes.
okay. All right, those are the 2 action items. Last item of order is adjourned.
Second.
Everybody online, we are adjourned. We thank you for your time. Please join us again and we'll see you at general board on next Thursday, we hope. Goodbye and good night. I'm turning off the recording.
Conservancy, that is the right.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Andrew Thomas.